The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Good afternoon and welcome to Hangin with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. 11:30 The Tiger in Shreveport. If you're watching along with us on CST or on our YouTube channel, 104.5 ESPN, you can chat with us there in the Bayou Ford chat, and you go back and see prior interviews on our Hangin with Hester and Hanny page on YouTube. Say hello to Cade Wazan, our audio producer, Paul O'Neill, our video producer, and Playboy Marty is here. Not sure what Playboy Marty's doing, but he's here definitely in spirit.
That's all that matters. As long as
he's almost got basketball games, maybe tomorrow. Looks like so. He's in better spirits. Along with Jacob Hester, I'm Charles Hanagriff, and wishing you a good afternoon here on a Friday as we kind of ease into the weekend. Sort of week zero, not completely, but there's a football game tomorrow night.
Week zero to me.
We are Central Arkansas fans. We'll be watching tomorrow night when they play Austin Peay. In fact, we're going to talk with Mike Golic Jr. He's on the call for that game tomorrow night, and we'll chat with him in the 2 o'clock hour. It's good to see football back in any form. This is with no preseason, this is really the first that we've seen, and we haven't seen a whole lot of practice either. The video snippets and things like that we get out there, but ordinarily there would be a lot more access to practice, and we haven't seen that, and we're still a month away. But it is good to see football back. And what I'm most excited about, Jacob, I think, is that starting tomorrow, we're going to have football, I think, for a very long time.
Yeah.
Now there may be interruptions in the middle of it here and there, certain teams, certain games, maybe even conferences. But we're going to have some football in some shape or form from tomorrow through at least March, which is unusual for us. And now the Big Ten apparently is studying an option to move the start of their season back to Thanksgiving. Could it be that they're starting to feel like maybe we jumped the gun? Maybe we made a mistake. Maybe the advice of the medical professionals that we followed is not entirely accurate. It has been widely debunked in many circles since they did that. So now the Big Ten is mulling a Thanksgiving start. Keep this up for a few more weeks, and maybe they'll move it up to Halloween, or maybe.
But Jeff Brom did all that work.
I know. He's got his spreadsheet.
Color-coded the spreadsheet.
He was ready to go in January. Maybe they'll move it up into October. Maybe even the end of September, which is where we were all along. When the parents wrote the letters, I didn't think it was going to move the needle. When the parents went to protest in Chicago last weekend, didn't think it was going to flip them. When the lawsuit was filed, we talked about this just yesterday, the 8 Nebraska players that filed a lawsuit. If they go back on it now, then they have to admit that the advice of their medical that they followed the wrong science. If they go back and say, well, you know what, we made a mistake, let's go to September 26th like the SEC is.
And we won't know this, Hanny, because they're not transparent, but I would love to know what was the one thing where they were sitting around and saying, oh, man, yeah, the SEC's doing that. We got to go. Was it all the heart testing that's going to have to take place if you do have a positive test? What was it? What was the thing that made them think, you know what, we should give this thing a try?
I don't know for sure.
Well, we won't know.
But
they're not.
The lawsuit was filed yesterday, and this leaked today, so I can guess. They get motivated by, we're going to get the pantsuit off of us, and maybe some lawyer in a Big Ten office somewhere said, you know what, they just might win.
Right.
I'm not legally savvy enough to tell you how good a case those 8 players have, and I don't think that there's any precedent in this for even a skilled lawyer to say, well, we can go back and look at this case. This has never happened before. Big Ten's this conference never canceled football in anybody's lifetime ever. So I don't even know what kind of precedent we could point to. But something is lighting a fire under their behind.
Has. And the Big Ten coaches are on a meeting call right now, but we know it's going to come down to the president still. And Brad Teague, who joined us yesterday from Central Arkansas, that's what he said. He said, well, I had a president that, had our back. And also, I had every answer to all of his questions, right? He was ready for whatever his president asked him. And we know that there's ADs and head coaches in the Big Ten that wanted to play, but it was down to the presidents. And so ultimately it's still going to come down to whatever the presidents decide. But there's been some breakthroughs in testing and the efficiency of those tests. And so, that's new information that the Big Ten presidents have. That's why people were saying, hey, wait, be patient, like some other conferences had done. But, they do have new information. So it's not just to say, oh, well, they voted it down the first time. They're going to do it again this time. So this thing's gaining steam, too. It's kind of picking up quickly.
Here's something else they have that they didn't have when they made this decision. They have students on campus now.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm saying every campus is full on all 14 Big Ten campuses, but they have students on campus. And unless they're keeping this information from the public, I haven't heard of any drastic outbreaks. I mean, Notre Dame, which is not in the Big Ten, of course, but is in that part of the country, has had to make some closures. They've had to make some modifications because of what's happened there. But could it be that they just looked at it and said, look, everybody went back to school and the planet didn't explode? I'll be damned. Yeah. Maybe we can pull this off after all. Should we go back and look at it again? Having those students on campus was the last big hurdle that the SEC was frightened of. And when I say frightened, I mean that they took precautions ahead of time to make sure that they could handle that. They didn't try to start the season this weekend or next weekend or even the weekend after that. Mm-hmm. They said, we are going to give it a full 5 to 6 weeks, depending on which campus is open when, to mitigate through any potential outbreaks that we have, so that if we can get through it, if we don't have to shut the whole campus down like they did, in North Carolina, then maybe we can get through this thing. Maybe we look at the testing and maybe it's not quite as widespread as we think. How many are asymptomatic? How many people can we quarantine and still run the football team, still run the campus, still run, basically everything that we do at university life? Maybe they saw all of that and went, you know what? Not that bad. I mean, are there sick people? Yeah. Sick people every year on campus. Is this contagious? Yes, it is. What happens if we put them all back together? Well, we're not going to know till we find out. Well, now, at least the early returns are pretty good.
I wonder what the players have been doing, because the coaches have still been meeting every day and they're recruiting and doing all those things. I wonder what the players have been doing over the last couple of weeks since the Big Ten decided to move the football season, because we know Wisconsin still had their schedule. They were still out there working out, doing some walkthroughs and different things. And I would assume that most teams were doing kind of the same, not a lot of stuff, but still going out there meeting as a team. You mentioned it. If you were Justin Fields, you would have been on the first thing smoking to Phoenix to train for the combine.
Absolutely.
What were guys like that doing? And obviously, if they did that, then that's a whole nother discussion for benefits and the whole deal. And the NCAA probably screwed that up. But now that this is something that's possible, don't you know that there's coaches that are sitting there and they've got their schedules and they're just ripping him up right now? They're like, what in the hell? Just throwing them all over. Like, what do we do? How do we get our team ready? It's been all over the place. It was supposed to be September. Then you told us spring, and then it was just January, actually. And then now it's going to be November, the end of November. So good luck. Good luck figuring out how you want your team to move forward.
This is where if you have a strong commissioner, you get everybody in the room and you get everybody on the same page, or you at least get them on a Zoom call. I want to update this, right?
Yeah.
And you get everybody on the same page. They don't have a strong commissioner. They have a rookie commissioner who has not handled this all out well. Now, I don't envy him the job that's been put in front of him. I think what these conference commissioners, all 5 of them, have had to deal with is maybe the most demanding set of circumstances that they could possibly have. But it has been all over the place. So if they do decide to move this into the fall or the winter, he's going to have to say why. So what is it? You better have a good explanation for if you do decide to move this thing into November. Yeah. Because the first thing that I'm going to ask if I'm one of these players' parents is, what's the difference between the end of September and the end of November? Because if we're on campus now and we're practicing now and we're going through all these protocols now, and we have the student population is the same now that it's going to be then, what's the difference and why aren't we playing? And you better be, if you're Kevin Warren at that point, you better be able to come back and say, we have new data. We have new science. We have a report now that refutes the report that we had then that this wasn't safe. Because if the answer is, well, the parents wrote me a letter, or, well, the parents came to protest in front of my office, or even worse, well, we got sued. So we moved it. Oh, so it is about money after all. You better have a really good reason, okay? You needed a really good reason to move it the first time. And you said it was player safety. Somewhat vague, but at least you had it. If you move it back, if you backtrack on that, you better be able to explain why.
Do you think the November date is because they realized if they moved it till the end of September or they moved it to sometime in October, they would catch some flack?
I would hate to think that this is all public relations, but the skeptic in me says that they've been under intense criticism for so long that it's impossible to block out the noise.
And from their own fan base.
Yes,
and
from
their own institutions.
It would be one thing if the SEC and the ACC were, kind of waving their finger at them going, what else? No. It's coming from within. And that is something that the conference prides itself on is we never have internal strife. If we do, we keep it in-house. Big Ten, big believers in we don't air our own dirty laundry.
Oh, the Big Ten controls so much of what they do. Even if it's like a conference-affiliated, the Big Ten Network or the Big Ten on Sirius XM, I mean, they want to have a say in what content is going out. There's no question about that. And not only is they getting feedback and flack from their universities, it's not just Northwestern. It's not Maryland and Rutgers. It's Ohio State. Yeah. It's Michigan. It's Penn State. So the heavy hitters are the ones. I told you, I went on Columbus yesterday. They didn't shy away from how they felt about the situation.
Right.
And that's that's one of the biggest stations up in that part of the country. And so they weren't silent during this whole deal.
And I don't think they're going to be silent very long on this either. I think you're going to have the coaches come back out again. The last time they tried to move everything, Harbaugh came out, Franklin came out, they came out. Like you said, the heavy hitters and said, "Hey, wait a minute, we don't like this." The Big Ten went ahead and did it anyway. You see this thing go with it. They still think there are coaches and players in that thing that still think, "Hey, we could do this at the end of September. Give us the go ahead tomorrow. We still got a month."
Yep.
That's our usual ramp-up time. It's not like we've been sitting around doing nothing. The teams are on campus. They're in reasonable shape. You give us a 4-week ramp-up, man, we're ready to go on September 22nd. That's what I would ask. Yeah. If I were the head coach at Ohio State and my president came to me and said the league called and they want to do this thing on Thanksgiving, I'd say, if we can do it on Thanksgiving, why can't we do it on September the 26th? What's going to be different? And don't tell me – the students are back. The testing is approved. The protocols are working. What's the difference between September and November? And if you're Kevin Warren, you better have a very good answer to that question. Guess who's bringing us stuff today? Small Sliders. It's Friday, man. Small Sliders over at the corner of East Boyd and Nicholson. Slide on through. Get your freshly prepared sliders and fries. Great milkshakes as well. I think we're looking at like a 1:30 arrival. Is that when you told Besh to deliver the food? Right about halfway of the show?
Besh can bring it anytime. Yeah. Just don't be late.
Bring enough for Playboy Morty, okay? He came in here.
Well, he might not be here. He tends to leave during the show. But
that's true. You still be here 1:30? Okay.
He's going to leave with Smalls coming.
As we told you, Mike Golic Jr. is going to be with us later today. He's calling the opening game tomorrow night. It's just Austin Peay and Central Arkansas. Hunt Palmer going to stop in with us today. And former LSU coach John Brady will be with us in the 2 o'clock hour. He is going to reflect on the career of Lute Olson, the legendary Arizona coach, the Hall of Fame coach who passed away last night at the age of 85. Brady and Olson had a number of games and 2 very, very memorable LSU wins. We'll talk with Coach Brady about that. This is Hangin with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny.
You know, every time you pick up a shovel, you got to call 811 first, but especially now in the wake of the hurricanes, if you are cleaning up when you're placing storm debris around servitudes, right-of-ways, don't place them on top of known ground utilities, specifically any ground structures like meters and pedestals that provide gas, power, communication, or water capabilities. As the storm debris collection begins, it's important for all those utilities, underground and overhead, to be identified in order to prevent personal injury. So call 811 before you dig.
Because of storm restoration efforts, some Louisiana 811 utility members are facing stretched resources, which may impact the response time to locate their underground infrastructure. Therefore, we are encouraging the temporary postponement of excavation and demolition projects in hurricane-impacted areas, which were planned prior to Hurricane Laura. You can get all the information, though, by calling them at 811. They will give you exactly that time frame. Remember, it's safe, it's easy, it's the thing to do, and it's the law.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Coming up on a Friday edition of Game Time, Jimmy Ott gets you ready for all the action in sports over the weekend. We're live from Mike Anderson's Seafood off of West Lee Drive. Tune in from 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And our Friday lunch hour is brought to you by Small Sliders. Slide on over and slide through for some freshly made sliders and fries, great shakes as well. Corner of East Boyd and Nicholson. Fridays.
I got a little update for you, Hanny.
Go ahead.
A little update here. Our poll question of the show yesterday was, is Darren Sproles a Hall of Famer? 1,183 people cast their vote. So pretty good sample size.
Sure.
50.7% say yes. 49.3% say no.
So it's close.
Close and horseshoe and hand grenades.
Is it over yet, or is that the end of the poll, or does it run?
You got 1 hour left.
Got an hour left. I don't need to win. I heard the argument the other way.
Okay.
I heard the argument the other way. I disagree. Okay, there are people that are in the Hall of Fame now that I wouldn't have voted for, and there are people that are not in the Hall of Fame that I would have voted for. The Hall of Fame discussions always spark a lot of debate, and I thought you made some good points yesterday about why he should be in. I argued the other side, not because we needed to do a show debate. It kind of just came up. It's what I actually, It's what I actually think.
What's funny is we had no intention, and something that we had no intention turned into 2.5 segments.
That happens sometime. Like, what do you put on your grits?
Real
quick,
what do you put on them?
What do I put on them?
Yeah.
If it's available, melted cheese, I'll put on grits. This is an old show, but back in the 90s. Condon was doing a show one morning.
Oh, I bet.
And I was in there. I was in there. I might even been producing the show that day. And all of a sudden, it just took off, and the phones just lit up, and it was 2 hours worth of what do you put in your grits? And I'm like, you have to do show prep today. So sometimes those things take off. All right, a lot of good questions I think in the Bayou 4 chat on YouTube about this. Theodore says. The difference would be that the 2 months would essentially be mostly without students on campus. If they started this thing Thanksgiving weekend, they could play it through the semester break. Okay, fair point. But my counter to that would be the fear was that having students back on campus would spark the spread, would spark an outbreak. Okay, for the most part, that hasn't happened. First, you brought the football team back on by themselves, put them through the protocols. They pretty much kept those numbers down. Now they put the students back on, and so far, so good. So now all you're talking about adding is a football game on a Saturday. They're already practicing. You're not going to stop from that. They're already going to class. You're not going to stop them from doing that. I suppose there's an argument to be made that you would have a lot of football watching parties, but I'm not going to shut the entire Big Ten football season down because 24 guys might get a keg of beer and a bunch of chips and sit around the TV. I'm not going to shut everything down for that. So all you're doing now is adding a football game with a socially distanced 20% full stadium. If the students had come back and it had sparked an outbreak, and they had said, we got to shut school down. And look, they had to do that in North Carolina. That was, right. I mean, if you had to do that at, I don't know, multiple Big Ten campuses, probably 2 or 3 would be enough. Then you say, well, okay, you know what, we gave it a shot. That's not going to work. Way to send everybody home. So I think you're adding a football game is really all you're adding at this point. And it's in a 20% capacity. I'm not suggesting that they put 101,000 at the big house or 102 at the shoe. I'm saying, hey, you're adding a football game with maybe 20,000 people. Or if it makes you feel better, close the stadium.
Yeah,
just go play go play the games.
I'd be very curious to see if they do play football, what they would do as far as capacity in the stadiums, because they're kind of seeing it all over the place as far as what teams are going to do. Like Pitt's not allowing fans. Clemson's going to have about 23%, which is 19,000 fans. Southern Miss is going to have 25%, so that's 9,000 fans for them. we're kind of seeing different numbers come out from different places. North Carolina's not going to have fans, and of course we're waiting the decision to see what Tiger Stadium's going to look like. They've delayed the decision to try to see what the governor and what phase we're going to be in whenever the time comes. But that's kind of been a little bit all over the place. But I would assume in the Big Ten, at most, you'll get 20%. Some of the stadiums, not even all of them.
Gustavo said today is the second day of school. Way too early to see anything happen. Here it is. But the Big Ten has had campuses open and classes start earlier than
Notre
this.
Dame's almost been in 3 weeks.
Yeah,
they're
something like
getting
that.
back on campus on Wednesday.
Yeah, and they had a little mini outbreak, but the other ones are opening. LSU was supposed to start Monday. They closed because of the storm. They went back on Tuesday. Then they closed for the storm again. Now they're back open. Students have been on campus for about 2 weeks. They started check-in 2 Saturdays ago. The check-in went for a week. They got all their kits and things like that. So they've been there for about a week and a half. One of the things that was concerning here in Louisiana was that because many of the COVID testing sites shut down for the Hurricanes this week, that it's going to delay having a true read. So at LSU, that's true. It's not true everywhere in the Big Ten. Where's my I had a okay, it says Big Ten presidents, no, we're doing what the governor's told him to do. It's about politics, not logic. I do think politics plays a role here. How big a role, that's up for debate. For instance, the governor of Michigan was steadfast against any type of sports at all. I didn't hear from all of the governors of every Big Ten state, but if you're the president of Ohio State and you've got a campus with, I don't know what the enrollment at Ohio State is, somewhere between 50 and 60,000, I think. I'm probably going to get on the phone with the governor and get the governor's opinion before I make any rash decisions. Now, in Ohio, they are playing high school football. Cincinnati is playing football. The Cleveland Browns are both playing football. Ohio State is not. So, as is the case in on a lot of topics, the state of Ohio and the state of Michigan are at odds, even their governors, okay? And I can't speak to what every other governor, but do I think politics plays a role? Absolutely. LSU, for instance, is waiting on the last declaration that they can get from John Bell Edwards on what phase Louisiana is going to be in on September the 26th. And because the phase 2 was extended for 2 weeks from today, they've got one more declaration coming from the governor, and then they'll know. If he had extended this one a little bit further, it might have been this one. As it was, he took 2 weeks. That's why I'm just a touch concerned that they're not going to have this week's worth of testing results when they go to make the next phase. But all indications are that if everything holds the way it is now, there's a decent chance that on September the 26th that Louisiana will be into phase 3. Cross your fingers. I don't know how much of a factor that was for every one of those Big Ten teams when they had to make their decisions. I would imagine pretty big because you can't – if your governor is limiting gatherings of pick your number and you try to put 100,000 people in Ann Arbor or Columbus, that's not going to go unnoticed. The governor's going to hear about it, and then you know what happens next. So I agree that politics plays a role in it. I don't know that it is the only thing that they're doing.
No, I mean we've seen the Nebraska governor come out and make comments supporting Nebraska football.
That's correct.
Because he said he knew what it meant to the state and what kind of a resource it was for the state.
One more. It's about the bubble that they could create in November, late November, December, and January would minimize the risk. I'm not going to tell you that an empty campus isn't safer than a full one. I'm just saying that a full campus right now seems to be doing okay. And if you have your druthers, you'd rather play now and play on schedule and not have to deal with the headaches, which we've only spent 2 months talking about, of a winter or a spring schedule. So it's not about, hey, let's try to find a way not to do it here. It's what are the tangible reasons that we can't kick off on September the 26th. And the last time they answered that question, it was because it was too risky. And so you have to ask the question, what is the difference in the risk between September 26th and November 26th? And I don't know what the answer to that is. The last time it was public health. If you're saying it's still public health, then you got to tell me why. And I don't, again, if it was about, the first time it was about, well, the students are going to come back. Well, students are back. If they have outbreaks in the next couple of weeks, so, then you make the adjustment there. But at any rate, the Big Ten may be going back to football sooner than I thought.
You think we'll have something come out this week, by the end of the weekend?
I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. I would imagine that the phones are working pretty good, and they're soliciting opinions, but I couldn't even hazard a guess as to when we'll know something for sure. We're brought to you today by Smalls Sliders. Slide on through there at the corner of East Boyd and Nicholson. Get a great slider, freshly prepared, some fries, and a shake. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, as you know, we're brought to you every single day by our title sponsor, Richards Honda. You can find them online at richardshonda.com. They've added something new to the website over the last couple of weeks, the Buy From Home button at the top left corner of this website. So you can go through the entire car buying process right here from your computer, from your smartphone. Something that they've added, obviously, during this pandemic, but you can make sure that you get everything that you want, and it is extremely easy. But also, don't forget, the dealership is open. 13413 Millerville Greens Boulevard in Baton Rouge. That's I-12 and Millerville. Over 700 new and pre-owned vehicles there on the lot of Richards Honda. And no matter what you're looking for, I always tell you, no matter what your lifestyle calls for, car, truck, midsize or full-size SUV, hybrid, van, they've got you covered over at Richards Honda. I can promise you're going to drive away from I-12 and Millville extremely happy. That's Richards Honda, as always, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law.
Coming up on Mondays Off the Bench, we are hurtling towards football season, and we'll bring you the latest from both LSU and Saints camp. Plus, we'll recap the playoffs as the NBA returns to action. And as always, we'll give you our weekend winners. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And we're brought to you by Smalls Sliders, Eastboard at Nicholson. Slide on through. Freshly prepared sliders, fries, and great shakes over at Smalls Sliders. A few more questions out of the Bayou Ford chat. Ricky says, Blue Book, if the Big Ten decides to play, what does the Pac-12 do? My opinion is nothing. I would be shocked if the Pac-12 reversed course. They do have some.
It's been awfully quiet from them.
They do have some restrictions that not everybody else is dealing with.
They have more hurdles than other conferences. They do.
Trying to put people on campus at USC, for instance, which they're not doing. The restrictions that are in place in Oregon, they would have to really change some things restrictions-wise, and that doesn't appear imminent. But I think there's another reason. I think they got the ruling they wanted. I think they got it. The Big Ten has got coaches, administrators, governors, athletic. They got people that want to play. I don't know that there's anybody in the Pac-12 that really wants to play, that has any say-so. I'm not saying, but I'm not talking about the coaches. You know, coaches want to coach football, players want to play. But have you heard any athletic director? Have you heard from Chip Kelly? Have you heard from David Shaw?
Clay Helton?
No, you haven't heard from. Have you heard from Larry Scott? No.
No.
Have you heard from the governor, Gavin Newsom, governor of California, saying, Governor of Nebraska said, hey, we want to play football. Governor of Ohio said, we are playing football, except at Ohio State. I can't picture in my head Gavin Newsom going to a podium saying, we need college football.
Right. Yeah, and for a lot of different reasons, but the first thing you said is exactly right, of the challenges that they have because of the state protocols that they have in place in California and in Oregon and some other places. So I don't imagine the Pac-12 does anything. Now, here's the question. If the Big Ten does play after Thanksgiving, the SEC, ACC, and the Big 12 move forward like we think they will, and all the other conferences, the American Athletic, the Sun Belt, Conference USA, who's playing with the Pac-12 in the spring?
The Pac-12. Let the Pac-12 play with themselves.
What are they going to do? They're going to meet. They were
going to do conference games only anyway.
They're going to, have the conference championship, and
that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess theoretically you could bring the Big Ten champion back to play the Pac-12 champion in the Rose Bowl in April, but if you start the season in November,
not gonna do that.
Tell Justin Fields he's got to hang around from the end of the season in February until April. 2 weeks before the draft, we need you to play in the Rose Bowl. No, but that's why I led the show off where I was like, starting tomorrow, we're going to have football. I'm just convinced as I can be the Big Ten's going to try to play at some point. Okay, even if it is in the spring, tough as that's going to be. Everybody else, I'm still skeptical. The Mountain West being able to pull off a spring football schedule, I don't know. But it will move these seasons back some. You will get the Big Ten playing at some point. And if they do everything they've said they're going to do, if the Pac-12 does play in the spring, if the Mountain West does play in the spring, if the SWAC plays in the spring, the MEAC, if the Southland, okay, they all have that, then you're going to have football from tomorrow through probably April. Not a bad thing. I don't necessarily want my conference and my team in Baton Rouge playing football in March, but if somebody's playing football, I'm probably going to watch in between NCAA tournament basketball games. You know,
what's the Rock doing? When we get in the XFL?
I don't know. He doled out a bunch of money for it.
XFL Pac-12 game between Oregon State and Washington State. What you watching?
You got say that again. I mean,
XFL game or Oregon State, Washington State.
I'm watching the college game.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's never much of an XFL guy. I liked some of the gadgets that they had, you know, the first time the XFL came out.
The coin toss?
No, I was thinking more like the camera on a rope. You know, the camera on a rope got put in. That was a good thing. I loved being able to listen to the replay officials discussing what they were actually talking about. That was pretty cool. No, not the scrum for the ball at the opening.
It's just meathead enough for me to enjoy it.
I'm gonna.
I mean, who doesn't? Come on. Hey, I'm gonna put this ball right here, and me and Playboy Marty gonna have to race to see who picks it up first. There was a broken collarbone involved in that, by the way.
Well, you think? What were the odds of that beforehand? Now, you might see, you might have your choice on CBS. You can watch the NCAA basketball tournament, and on Fox, you can watch Ohio State, Illinois.
I'll go NCAA basketball.
I would too. Just for March. But in February, if you're giving me Ohio State, Illinois football or Ohio State, Illinois basketball, I'm watching Ohio State, Illinois football. If it's a regular season game, not in the NCAA tournament, I'm gonna watch that.
I mean, it could be you'll have the Mountain West. They'll be available with the Pac-12, so you'll have some other options, but not a lot. I'm forgetting it. What are the G5? Is that it? Is it just the Mountain West and the Pac-12 that would be available in that situation if the Big Ten did indeed play?
The group of five, you would have, I think that.
Because the American, the Sun Belt, Conference USA.
The MAC.
Oh, yeah, Maction. I forget about Maction. Oh, yeah, it's not Tuesday.
They play on Tuesday, so they're okay.
Yeah, you're right.
We're brought to you by Smalls Sliders. Slide on through Nicholson and East Boyd for great, freshly prepared sliders, fries, and milkshakes as well. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you by Baton Rouge Foundation Repair. Baton Rouge Foundation Repair offers services to correct the settlement of both slab foundations and pier and beam foundations. Some signs of foundation problems are doors that won't close, sunken floors, cracks in the foundation, cracked outside and inside walls. Some of the things that contribute to those foundation problems: plumbing leaks, evaporation, poor soil conditions, poor drainage, poor foundation construction, tree roots. So call Baton Rouge Foundation Repair to make sure that your work gets done the right way, and it gets done the right way the very first time. You can always call them at 225-275-0101. You can check out their website, brfoundation.com. It's set up for success. You can check out their warranties of their slab foundations and their pier and beam foundations. You can check out galleries as well as before and after pictures, a full list of services. We tell you every single day they've been servicing the greater Baton Rouge area for over 22 years. The owner, Michael LaMonica, lifelong resident of Baton Rouge as well. That number, one more time, 225-275-0101.
Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Methern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
When you want the best of Louisiana, you don't go to a superstore. We know what we like, and we like it local. Same goes for banking. As one of Louisiana's largest local banks, we offer homegrown services crafted around you. Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644.
Yo, join us for a TGIF edition of Hangin with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard Honda from noon to 3. We'll close the book on LSU and Saints practice this week, as well as get you ready for the first college football game of the season on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Brought to you by Small Sliders. Slide on through East Boyd at Nicholson. Any report on where Besh is?
I don't know, but Debo's going to come looking for him. He's got 43 minutes before we send someone looking for him.
I understand.
Cookies and cream shake, icy slider, fries. Thank you, and God bless.
Don't forget the sauce.
The smoss, baby.
Yes. NBA is going back to work. They will start games again tomorrow. They came to some conclusions, some commitments that were made. They're going to establish a social justice coalition that's reps from players, coaches, and owners. That's going to cover a wide variety of issues. They are going to one of the things that you may be able to see tangibly very quickly is they're going to try to turn every one of the arenas in the NBA into a voting location for the general election. They think that they can get this done by the November election. So that might be one of the things that you see.
That's in college basketball as well, Hanny. I know there's a lot of colleges that have come out and said they want to make their arenas, their pavilions, the same thing, testing centers.
Right. And it would – there's the NFL is going to do a league-wide day off on Election Day, so that everybody could go and vote. For the colleges, it's not quite as simple because not everybody is not everybody's from, not everybody can vote in Baton Rouge. Right. They're not registered to vote here. They come from different states and things like that. So, but I do think that if you set up voting precincts near college campuses, if you're going to shut down for the day anyway, then let them vote there.
That was something. Remember Coach O? That was something that they did. They got their entire team registered to vote.
Yeah, and it was what was the year they asked him? What was it, him or Miles? That you're going to give the players the Tuesday off, the election day, and it was Alabama week. It was like, not that Tuesday, no. So,
absentee ballots.
If it was the election was in August, sure. In the first week in November, yeah, no, we got a game that week. They're also going to create some additional advertising during the playoff games to promote greater civic engagement in those elections and to raise awareness around voting access. So that's one of the things that you may see very early, and they will resume the playoffs tomorrow back at the bubble in Orlando. So, Playboy Marty, we have your analysis on what a few days off is going to do to shake up the odds.
I was thinking it would revert me back to my game one rule, but no, I really think it's going to be the same, and especially in this Rockets-Thunder series, I expect the Rockets to come out and win.
Well,
win big.
Russell Westbrook is ready to go.
Yeah.
He's scrimmaged during the couple days off, and according to what they're saying, he's looked
Said he looked as explosive as ever, was the quote.
Yeah. Now Barkley kind of downplayed it a little bit. This was the day before they stopped. He said, you can simulate all you want, but game speed is a different thing. I know you football instead of basketball, but you buy into that?
So
now he's talking about not from a competition, so from a conditioning standpoint.
Right. That's what I was about to say. So I was, after 2013, I continued to work out. So I was in shape. Like I was working out, I was running on my own, I was teaching lessons to gosh, it seemed like 20 people a week, and I was running with them. Anything I was doing, I was running with them. We were running stadiums, we were pulling sleds, the parachute, everything, right? I go to camp with the Saints in 2014, and it was a light practice. It wasn't even a whole lot. It was probably like an hour and a half. I was sore for a week off one practice, and I was in shape. It wasn't my wind. It was all the small muscles that you use in a football practice that you don't use when you're trying to get ready for a football practice, and it's always going to be like that.
The Thunder had pulled themselves back into that series basically on the backs of the Rockets going cold.
Yeah.
The Rockets had come out shooting the ball unbelievably well, and then I think they were 8 of their last 26 from three, or 4 of their last 26 from three.
It was really bad, but also they were one inbound pass away from going up 3-0 in the series. So
that was in Game 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that game went to overtime, and
then they got smoked in overtime. They lost by like 11, I think.
Could have gone either way, and the Rockets have done all of that without Westbrook. So the other series that I think has been really entertaining is Denver and Utah, especially when you're seeing Donovan Mitchell and Murray go back and forth in this series. The Nuggets won to get themselves back to 3-2. What do you think?
I think they may push it to 7, but I really don't see Utah losing 3 straight. No, I don't.
It's over a longer period of time now, right?
Yeah.
Real quick before we take a break, Billy Donovan, Coach of the Year?
Nick Nurse, Toronto.
I know, but what Billy Donovan's team trades Paul George, and they're supposed to be a team that's laughable. Chris Paul, you can't move his contract. It's just not one you can move, and they kind of felt like, all right, we got to play with him because we can't do anything with him. We're not going to release him. He's still got some use to us. And then they go out and they're 44-28. They're tied with the Rockets, albeit without Westbrook. I know Nick Nurse lost Kawhi, but within the West, what Oklahoma City's done, for me, it's a better coaching job.
It's a sound argument. There are people that think that the Raptors may repeat without Kawhi. That they've got to.
They look great.
They got a puncher's chance.
Yeah.
Because of the way they play defense, they've got a puncher's chance. I don't think they're going to win it, but I'm not going to fall on the floor shocked if they do. It's a regular season award, though, so I mean that doesn't necessarily count.
Those two guys the only ones for y'all?
Those would be the two at the top of my list. Yeah. Milwaukee was supposed to finish where they did. The Lakers were supposed to finish where they did. The Clippers were supposed to finish where they did. I don't. There's nobody else that I would strongly go to bat for. I would say I would say those two were at the top of the list. We are brought to you by Smalls Sliders. They are located corner of Nicholson and East Boyd. Slide on through for your freshly made sliders, fries, and milkshake. Hour number 2, Hunt Palmer is going to stop in with us. Hour number 3, Mike Golic Jr., who is calling the season opener tomorrow night. This is Austin Peay in Central Arkansas. Most people ever to watch a Central Arkansas Bear football game tomorrow night. Gotta be.
I'm getting at least a T-shirt. Maybe if they win tonight, a quarter zip. I don't know. I'm getting something.
You forgot to ask yesterday. You were supposed to get us free stuff.
I tried. Hey, maybe I can shoot him another email. Say, hey, by the way, can you give us anything free? We'll wear it on air. We're on in Arkansas on CST.
We will put, if they've got a mini helmet somewhere or so, we'll put it up here for this season.
Actually, we're on CST in Arkansas, and 11:30 a.m. the Tiger reaches up into Arkansas. So
we need a helmet. We need a flag. We need something. Central Arkansas.
Make it happen.
Go Bears. Hour number 2 coming straight ahead. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
This is big. Really big. I mean really, really, really big. Because Honda's summer clearance event is going on right now at Richards Honda. With 0 to the 4th power on brand new Honda Civics. That's 0 down, 0 due at signing, 0 security deposit, and 0 first month payment. Plus, summer clearance on every new vehicle in stock. Just another reason why people call Richards Honda the smart choice. I-12 at Millerville Road and richardshonda.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're King, a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At All Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
Callahan Injury Lawyers. Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hour number 2, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. If you're with us up in the Shreveport area, 1130 The Tiger. If you're watching along with us on CST or on our YouTube page, 104.5 ESPN, our Hanging with Hester and Hanny page. Welcome in, Hunt Palmer. Robert, how are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm about to hit the road here, but I can give you all 15 minutes.
You're hitting the road to, you got to go buy a dress today.
I'm not buying any dresses. No, but we are going to check out a venue.
Okay, so you're going venue shopping today and
it's
dress
not as
shopping.
if I don't get any say in any of it.
Why are you even
but
going?
my presence is requested.
Okay, well, as long as they ask you to come, because you don't have any power in this situation.
I don't want any.
This is what FaceTime is for. Then they can see you nod, and you don't have to.
I'd rather just go play golf, honestly. But we're gonna go check it out.
Okay, and so dress shopping is next
I hope
weekend.
you're not listening to the show, by the way.
I don't think that's an issue. But no, I'm kidding. But
Robert's getting married, by the way.
That's true.
Hunt Palmer's getting married, so
yeah. I'm actually excited. I think today's the one we're gonna lock in on, so it's gonna be good. And I'm not doing any dress shopping now.
Do you have?
I'm going to try not to wear a tux because I hate wearing tuxedos and I don't want to wear a tuxedo. I'd rather just wear a suit and tie. But I don't get any say in that either, so we'll see.
Kind of flowers. You have a strong opinion on the flowers?
Absolutely not.
Centerpieces?
No.
The bar?
No, I had thoughts on that. We've gone through that. I've okayed it.
Is there going to be cold Bud Light?
There will be. I don't know how much I'll have of that. It's probably going to be more of a Scotch situation.
Okay.
So we'll be all right.
So this venue around the Baton Rouge area?
No, it's on the North Shore.
Okay. You do know she's made up her mind about where she wants to get married already.
I believe this is it.
She's just going.
That's exactly right. And that's fine. Look, it's her show. I'm thrilled.
This is 3 hours in the car that you could avoid because she's already made up her mind.
I'm going to be just fine. I'm going to listen to you guys. I may listen to a little bit of Matt. It'll be great.
I mean, she's looked at this online. She's made up her mind. Unless this place
You're
that
not
you're going
telling
to,
me anything new.
Yeah, unless there are giant cockroaches that come out of from behind behind some sequestered place in there.
This looks like Joe's apartment.
Yeah, she's already made up her mind.
I know
it. Hey, Cubs still in first place.
Leaking oil.
Yeah, they're tied with the Braves now.
We just lost 2 or 3 to the Tigers.
It's not great.
Which is, by the way, like an SEC All-Star team.
It really
so
is.
we saw Casey Mize the first game. We saw Spencer Turnbull from Alabama. Kristen Stewart from Tennessee is out there. Jacoby Jones is playing. It's all the guys like I watched when I was covering LSU.
How you feel about Casey Mize?
I think he's going to be really good. It's not a traditional Max Scherzer, I'm going to throw it 97 and then snap off a nasty slider you can't see. He's going to throw that two-seamer that can get up to 95 miles an hour. He's got good control. He's going to be a really good pitcher. I don't know that he's going to win Cy Youngs, but I think he can be a frontline guy.
Well, he was the number 1 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
That's what they drafted him to be.
I think a lot of him, and I think it will come. I think he's a very sharp young man. I had a chance to interview him a handful of times. He's got this stuff. This is early in his career. This is something that we typically see. And once he figures things out, he's definitely got the ability. I mean, he was one of those Friday night starters that you almost just went ahead and put an L next to the
Except
game.
when Mikhail Hilliard was facing him on the Plains a couple of years ago.
Well, not LSU, just the other teams. Not everybody's LSU.
But
I'd forgotten about that game.
Yeah.
That was
and LSU was fighting. LSU was fighting for it, but he's going to be really good. It's my buddy and longtime diehard Tigers fan Chris Novak was complaining about him the other day. I said, just calm down. It's going to be fine.
There's actual Tiger fans that aren't LSU fans?
I'm kind of giving him a hard
LSU
time. He texted me before this season started because I'm looking for a team, and I wanted like a cool stadium and good uniforms that I could buy a hat, and if they have like an LSU guy, that'd be good. And I was like, well, there's a couple. He goes, what about the Tigers? I go, Well, they're awful, but they've got LSU guys.
Special fielders. I mean, the last
Hess and Lang are close to being called up there, and if you want to, but they got to deal with the White Sox now, who are going to be a real problem.
What do you think about this Big Ten? The possibility of moving this thing to Thanksgiving start.
Well, it doesn't mean that they're going to play, and it just means that what we were all saying is correct, because they're admitting as much now. They jumped the gun. There was no need to do that when they did it. There's no need to say we're out when they did that. Everyone was on campus, going through light workouts, staying in shape, and saying, okay, we're going to try, and if something happens that's very significant, we can pull the plug. And best I could tell, nothing super significant happened. They just kind of went, we're out. And it was too early. They just didn't need to do that.
What if Ohio State and Michigan ended up playing on Thanksgiving weekend anyway? It was just a season opener.
That'd be something.
Ohio State would win again.
I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah.
It just continued the streak of baby cakes losing.
I mean, don't you have to do that if you're the Big Ten? It's like I'm going to try to make a splash. It's not quite the end of the season for everybody else, but it's getting close. It's games that are going to have championship ramifications. It's the if I'm going to come out of the shootout, it's going to be my season opener. Don't I have to lead with that game?
I don't think they will, but I understand what you're saying about it.
Didn't we all think that the SEC was going to come out guns blazing?
Yeah.
And then they literally put together the worst slate of games you could possibly put together. There is not one great football game. I can say that Kentucky and Auburn might be a competitive football game.
Yeah.
It's still Kentucky and Auburn.
Yeah.
It's a mediocre
The second
East
best
team.
is Florida Ole Miss.
There's nothing. They put together nothing.
All right. Let me explain something to you. It's going to have been over 6 months.
That's why they did it.
Since we have seen since we've seen an LSU sporting event, period.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Jacob Hester and I are getting together tomorrow night to watch Central Arkansas and Austin Peay, and we couldn't be any more excited.
Guys. I know it. I heard yesterday.
Couldn't be more excited to watch it. LSU could be playing the Lithuanian bobsled team on September the 26th.
Hey, don't talk about bobsled. Gordy's former bobsledder.
Lithuanian gymnastics, Lithuanian lacrosse. The Calgary Stampeders. I don't care. Okay,
I'm with you.
We're going to watch. So, yeah, later in the season it's going to matter who they play, but that first weekend, that's the whole.
But your
that's the whole
question
selling
was-
point on the rental wins.
Right, but your question was, isn't the Big Ten going to come out with those guys first? And the point being, they don't really have to, because everybody up there will be just as starved as we are.
Well, okay, fair enough in Big Ten country, but you do have a fight over eyeballs on your teams at that point. And if LSU's playing that weekend, Texas A&M, and Alabama's playing Auburn, and all of these other games of real significance, if I'm the Big Ten and I'm trying to get my foot back in the door, I might. And then the other thing is that's the weekend it was supposed to be played.
Right.
So
you're hoping for
just
Ohio
an
State,
idea.
Michigan. You're probably getting Maryland, Rutgers.
Are they in the Big Ten? Is that a Big Ten game?
Yeah, that's a Big Ten game.
Maryland Rutgers.
That is
How about that? It's not a Big East ACC game.
No, I know
although
it is.
Maryland actually thinks they got some juice to them, by the way.
Well, that's neither here nor there. Here's the question, and I know where you stand, Charlie. I don't know where you stand. So August for me is always watching Hard Knocks every Tuesday, practice reports. I go out to practice a little bit. We're getting a lot of player interviews sound, and it really juices you up. And I'm not there. I don't feel like it's about to be football season.
No, I agree completely, because it's not about to be football season.
Yeah.
It's still a month away from SEC football season. Now, Central Arkansas is playing tomorrow.
That's correct.
The NFL. Okay, so I was down with the guys last night at Jolie Pearl, and they were doing a big NFL piece, because the opening game is 2 weeks from last night. And even that doesn't feel like it's right here, because we haven't had the preseason games. And even if they're a waste of time, I described it this way: it's what's on in the background. Okay, if you've got something on the grill, if you're having a cold one, if you're talking to friends or whatever, it's just on in the background. It's just kind of background noise. We haven't had that. I got a fantasy football draft tomorrow. Okay,
I got one Sunday.
I've done 0. Okay, I mean I got to cram tonight because it's 0. Who's a backup running back for the Packers? I got no idea. Ordinarily, I would be really up to speed on training camp battles and stuff. Nothing. That's just how.
He's having trouble turning the car engine over. I'm sure we'll get there, and it'll be a little different. And I've stuck to this the entire time. I am really enjoying watching the Cubs every night. It feels real to me, and I feel like it's going to with LSU. The pregame show for me will be different. I'm sure we'll be in studio instead of out in front of the stadium, and I don't know if we'll be able to go in or not. And it may be a little bit different, but I still think when LSU goes out there against Mississippi State, it'll get my juices going.
I think it'll get the juices going a little bit when we see even, don't laugh, ACC football. ACC goes 2 weeks in front of the SEC. That is a Power 5 conference on the field. I mean, that's Clemson, okay? We'll watch that with great interest. I'm not joking about watching Central Arkansas tomorrow night. I'm going to watch, but it's not like I'm going to be intensely, rooting for an outcome, okay? I mean, we're becoming Central Arkansas fans.
That's all good.
But
he was impressive on the air yesterday. I enjoyed that interview.
We like him a lot. Okay, we've got man crushes on him. But when the ACC gets out there, then I think it's a little bit different. I think that week you'll have NFL football and you'll have ACC football, you'll have Big 12 football, and it'll feel like that.
That's certainly my hope. I'm excited for that, but I got the Cubs to hold me over until then.
Is this a big venue you want to look at today? Small venue?
I think it's fairly small. This is my understanding.
It's going to be a quaint little affair.
It feels that way. Going to kind of limit the invite list. It's going to be a lot of friends. And
he basically just said, y'all are not getting an invitation.
Well,
I can pretty much guarantee that's not going to happen. It's smaller than that. You aren't quite in the mix.
I mean, you hear this?
I do.
It's
I've been on the air with this guy for almost 3 years now, and I can't get an invitation to the wedding.
I hadn't heard.
We're from the same hometown.
She cut out uncles and cousins last week.
My stepdad goes to his father for dental work.
We appreciate that. Here's how much my dad cares about hurricanes. He was ticked off people didn't want to come in yesterday for their appointments. He was mad. It was
the first ever in Shreveport.
It was literally a hurricane. He's like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
We haven't even heard what's behind the bar, so maybe we don't want to go anyway.
That's true.
Well,
we didn't want to come to your wedding anyways.
We're gonna out you though. We're gonna tell everybody where it is. They're gonna crash.
Please do not. We're not gonna. We don't like that. We don't want to run out of food and booze. Certainly not.
We got some stuff from Jamar Chase, some stuff from Jabril Cox. You staying? You going?
I gotta go. So we need to talk about Hungry Howie's. You're
Yes.
talking about getting back to football. We've been trying to feel normal for 6 months. What's more normal than Saturday football and pizza? You got Central Arkansas on the tube tomorrow. Go by Hungry Howie's. Pick up. They'll deliver. We've talked about the specials they've had all month long. You can get 3 one-topping medium pizzas for $15. That's $5 a pop. You can get a large 2-topping for just $7.99 if you carry it out. They got stuffed Howie bread with bacon, jalapeno. Awesome stuff over at Hungry Howie's. Download the app. Set your pickup time right before kickoff. Pick up some pizzas. Pick up some drinks. And head on back to the house and watch some football. Hungry Howie's. Home of the flavored crust pizza right there in Nicholson, just south of LSU's campus, hungryhowies.com. And, of course, the app. Hungry Howie's bringing you Hanging with Hester, Hanny, Hunt, most Tuesdays and Thursdays, and sometimes a Friday when there's a hurricane and I got to do insurance stuff on Thursdays.
Safe travels, buddy. We'll see you next week.
Hungry.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
You know, so many people have lost their jobs or they're looking for a new career. And we suggest that you go to Associated Grocers because there are multiple positions open all the way across this great company. And, you know, we're talking about a career, not just a job. Terrific wages, terrific benefits, you're guaranteed 40 hours a week, and a family atmosphere that makes you feel like you're really a part of a team and something special. You can go to agbr.com.
You're exactly right about the family feel, Handy. They've got company cook-offs, luncheons, basketball and pool tournaments. They like to make it fun as well and make it feel truly like a family. That website we always give you, agbr.com. Go to the careers tab. It's going to pull up exactly where you need to fill out that application, see available positions. Also going to have driver and employee testimonials right there over on the right side. So don't just take our word for it. Listen to people who have worked for the company as well. Check out the benefit packages right there on the career tabs as well. That's agbr.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jdacody.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Finally, the Riot Radio Hours return. Terry O's in studio. We hope you'll join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. All with Jacob Hester, I'm Charles Hanagriff. Hope you're having a nice Friday afternoon. Jabril Cox is one of the people that we're most excited to see in an LSU uniform, and We've seen a little bit of practice video from him, but mostly we've heard a lot about what a terrific camp he's having. And yesterday it was an opportunity for us to hear from him. He did a piece for LSU Media with Emily Dixon. So I'll let you hear a little bit of that from Jabril Cox. And the first thing was, he committed to LSU sight unseen. Yeah. He was actually on his way to the airport when COVID hit, when the shutdowns hit. So he committed to LSU without ever setting foot on campus, and he talked about walking into that ops building for the first time.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was just a sight that you could tell that everybody buys in, and this program is something that everybody enjoys and puts a lot of just hard work and money into to make it the best for the athletes. Yeah, it's been a pretty smooth transition. Everybody's just been embracing me. The guys, they're helpful in everything I need. The team, it's really one team, and we're all chasing towards a common goal.
We're okay with the music. We're not going to get flagged. We're okay. The other thing was that Jabril Cox could have easily been probably a second-day draft pick had he chosen to go pro. And he talked about why he decided to come to LSU rather than enter the draft.
I sat down with my parents and we both thought about it. If I would have entered the draft, I wouldn't have been able to graduate. I graduated this past spring, so just getting my education was important first, and then just seeing all the weaknesses that I had and what I can build on, that's what made me into the portal and then come here to LSU.
How many times do you hear athletes say that? I promised my mom I'd graduate. Yeah. It's a big deal. I promised my mama that I would graduate. When you go, a lot of it's a really, really big deal. I always like hearing that. It's always kind of tells me that a young man is grounded. He's thinking about the things that he's supposed to think about. So was happy to hear him say that.
This is a guy that you weren't expecting to be anywhere close to the LSU program, no. right after the season. And you knew it was a position where you lost multiple starters. You lost your 2 inside linebackers. You lost your outside linebacker, right? And for 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick. And so it was a position where you're going to have some question marks. Now, you have players in Clark and Baskerville that have played but never really been starters. And from day one, when he decided to come to LSU, it gave you a viable veteran player who's won national championships, albeit at a different level. That doesn't matter because that program's different in the FCS. A guy that would have been drafted. I mean, this is like signing the big free agent in professional sports. And this is a guy that you were wondering for a little bit, okay, how's he going to transition? How are you going to transition from the FCS level to the best of the best in the FBS level, the defending national champs? And all reports are he's not only transitioned, but he might be the best player out there. So this is a gigantic, any word you want to use, get for LSU and their defense.
And, one of the big factors in getting him here was a guy that he played against his team, Bo Pelini.
Yeah, before he was here and he was coaching me, I seen Bo as a fiery guy, but as I got to know him, he's really down to earth and he's a player's coach. He really cares about the players and how we operate, and he'll do anything for any of us. And I just love having him just being the one that I've seen at Youngstown State, a familiar face here, so he knows my capabilities of being a player.
Any coach that you looked across the field at, if you hadn't played where you played, college or pro, and said, hey, man, I'd like to have played for that guy?
That's a great question. I'm trying to think. When I was at LSU, just offensively, I think Urban Meyer was a guy just because of all the things he did on offense. And this was, kind of early in his career when after he left Bowling Green in Utah and got to Florida. They're using so many different people. You always wonder, well, how would I fit in an offense like that? That's definitely a guy that comes to mind. Sean Payton in the NFL is like, and I had a chance to go to a mini camp, but it's always like, man, Sean Payton used a lot of guys in a lot of different spots, and he utilizes guys that a lot of people said couldn't do it at this level, and he makes them stars, right?
Yeah.
So Sean Payton, Urban Meyer, some of those offensive minds, you kind of wonder. Even the old ball coach. Well, Steve Spurrier played against him when he was at South Carolina. What he did at South Carolina, having back-to-back 11-win seasons, that's the first time that program had ever done anything like that. And so, he turned that program around. I know it got, it didn't finish strong, but the old ball coach would have been fun to play for.
We also got a chance to hear a little bit from Jamar Chase, who talked about his relationship with Miles Brennan and elevating this year's receiver room.
Me and Miles actually been hitting it a lot lately. I feel like me and Miles are on the same page. We have great communication right now, and I feel confident about each other. It starts at practice, of course, with the wide receivers. I'm not dropping passes, running great routes. It's the small things for receivers. Eye contact, hand-eye coordination. Stuff like that is going to make us better. So
this extra camp, I can imagine, would only benefit a guy like Jamar Chase, but then he's such a dominant player that he can make up for a lot of things.
I can't wait to see how teams try to defend him, knowing there's other weapons, but knowing that you don't want 7 to be the guy that beats you. I've been in so many locker rooms where there was other talented players, but they would say, "This guy's not beating us." Right? Yeah. We were making sure if we lose, it's not because of this guy. And Jamar Chase is going to get that treatment this year. And it's up to Terrace Marshall. It's up to Racey McMath. It's up to Eric Gilbert. It's up to Chris Curry, John Emery, Ty Davis-Price, all those other offensive weapons to be able to pick it up. And whenever he is double covered, whenever they make sure that he's taken away the best they can, all the teams tried last year, that they can't do it for long. Because last year, that's what you saw, right? You look at the Oklahoma game, and Jamar Chase was the Blitnikoff Award winner, right? And everybody was going to try to stop him, and Justin Jefferson gets 4 touchdowns. That's what you have to do. You have to be a guy that when the guy's taken away, you become the guy.
I'm trying to see if I could find where this question was on Twitter yesterday, because Hunt had actually responded to it. It was trying to take a guess at LSU's touchdown leaders, and it was something along the lines of who the second best touchdown maker would be. Like if Jamar Chase is going to lead this team in touchdowns, who's gonna be second? You know, and Terrace Marshall's an excellent guess. Racey McMath, Eric Gilbert could be the guy. Could be one of the running backs. I don't know, but I thought about that. Yes, when you said that. Me, I can make a pretty good case for that big tight end after the first 2, but we'll see how that works out. Last question on these clips. You think Emily picked out the music, or you think she let Shay do it?
Emily. Yeah. Emily definitely picked it out.
I was trying to find a way we could hang it on Shay.
No, I figure Shay might have, some techno, maybe something that's got a little beat to it.
Yeah.
And, Emily does a good job. She don't want to take away from the interview. It's just a little background noise.
A little background music. That was from their in-house Inside the Huddle interviews that they did yesterday. Take a break. Hanging with Hester and Hanny is brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. Off the Bench, Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a new Camry for $239 per month or take 0% financing for 6 years. $239 per month or 0% for 6 years. So come on down to...
Coming up on a Friday edition of Game Time, Jimmy Ott gets you ready for all the action in sports over the weekend. We're live from Mike Anderson's Seafood off of West Lee Drive. Tune in from 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
First class, second class, no class is brought to you by Relief Telemed. Relief is for businesses that have frequent interactions with the public, restaurants, retail stores, and service-based businesses that cannot afford to shut down or send home employees. Relief's COVID mitigation platform takes the hassle, chaos, and stress out of having your employees tested for COVID. The process starts with a video visit with a physician and ends with a custom action plan for every employee. And through a dashboard, you know exactly when your employees can come back to work.
Hanny, when we had a problem at one of my businesses, Relief Telemed made it extremely easy, and they got us back to work. When LSU needed someone, when LSU was looking for someone to make sure that their testing was done the right way, was done efficient, was done in a very speedy manner, well, who do they call? Relief Telemed. If it's good enough for LSU, it is good enough for me. It is good enough for your business, just like it was my business, and it's also high school coaches. If you're looking to test your team, that's also something that Relief Telemed can do. You can check them out online, relieftelemed.com.
And the number is 225-244-6093. That's 225-244-6093. First class, you're up.
My first class is, well, surprise, surprise, Central Arkansas and Austin Peay. And I told you you're probably going to be hearing this for a long time. But again, as we get closer to this game, we were supposed to see this Saturday Marshall at East Carolina. That game got postponed. Idaho State at New Mexico, postponed. UC Davis at Nevada. That game got postponed. So we had some week 0 games that were scheduled. We're not going to see those games. But you know who we are going to see? Austin Peay versus Central Arkansas. Again, everyone involved, they found a way to get to that yes that we talk about. They will be kicking off in Montgomery, Alabama, 8 o'clock Central Time on Saturday night. It is going to be on the main ESPN. It's going to bring a lot of attention, positive attention to both of these programs. And I'm going to get one more use out of it because I do think it's great. When so many teams did not do so, Central Arkansas, Austin Peay, they found a way to get their team some games. They are playing in week 0. And again, Austin Peay, I know you look, nothing against you, the governors, but we're going to go Central Arkansas here.
This week we had to cover 2 hurricanes. Well, one of them ended up not being much of an event at all. The other one ended up being one of the most devastating storms to ever hit the Louisiana coast. And I've been doing this a long time, and whenever they call the sports guys in to help with the the hurricane coverage, you know it's serious because it's all hands on deck. And Jacob, it never ceases to amaze me when a crisis hits here, how the people pick each other up.
Right.
And we were talking with people, while we were doing coverage that were helping their neighbors, helping people get out, giving people a place to stay, giving people food. We talked to a guy, said, man, we pulled up to this gas station. The pumps were open, but the gas station itself, the inside was closed. So the only way you could do it was with a credit card. I said, man, I left my wallet in my other. He goes, I'll buy you gas. Okay. Things like that, from the first responders to all the way down to the media that's covering it, just giving the information out. And you see people that work these 16, 18, 20-hour shifts because that's just what you have to do.
Right.
Never ceases to amaze me how Louisiana shows its, in the time of the worst adversity, the people show out the best. And, the Cajun Navy has done it so many times. I was reminded again this week that we saw it. And there's a lot of cleanup left to do and a lot of broken homes, a lot of damage, of course. But you really see the best in people at that time. So that's my first class.
I agree. Well said there, Hanny. All right, so my second class is a little bit out there. Mike Woodson, the longtime head coach in the NBA, no longer a head coach, but he is going back to the Knicks to be an assistant coach. Let's remember, he was the head coach for the New York Knicks and actually went 109-79 and took that team to a conference semifinals. And for him to, swallow your pride and go back and you're going to be an assistant coach where you were a head coach under Thibodeau there in New York. And I've seen this before. I always thought Norv Turner went to be the OC in Cleveland. Rob Chudzinski was the head coach there, and Chud was actually our tight ends coach in San Diego. So he goes and works for a guy that used to be his tight ends coach. I always thought that was pretty cool. Norv says, you know what, I want to coach, going to swallow my pride. He also did it with Ron Rivera in Carolina. Ron was our defense coordinator, and then Norv went to be the OC there in Carolina. But this is somewhere where you were the head coach. You were the guy, and you actually took a very bad Knicks franchise to a place they hadn't been in a long time, which is the postseason and then the conference semifinals, and you had a 58% winning percentage, and so you should get an award for life for being the Knicks coach and having a winning percentage that's over 500. But I thought that was cool. Hey, I'm going to go back. I'm going to be on the bench with Thibodeau there, and maybe, just maybe, at least hit some victories.
My second class, you're really going to have to work with me here, okay? The Big Ten. They are at least exploring other options now. They are trying to move back into a direction where it is, get me to a yes. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if they're going to be transparent about the reasons why. This could be a complete bomb. But at least it looks like they're listening and they're trying. So I'm going to give them a little bit of credit for the effort. It may be the biggest bust ever. But at least now they didn't just say what they did after the announcement, which was, this is it. This is the decision. We made it. There's no disputing it. And then not say anything for 7 or 8 days. At least they're trying, okay? Like I said, you got to work with me a little.
Yeah, they'll get into my first or second class when they come out and they're transparent as to why,
you got to
when, and
you got to
where.
really want to see it.
All right, so my no class is going to come from this audio, Hanny.
That you thought that if SEC football wasn't played, that could swing the general election because people in the in Trump's base would be very upset that they didn't have football, which is practically a religion down there. And I disagreed because he would simply shift blame. And, because the pandemic is raging, and they seem to be very low susceptible to very low quality information and easy to propagandize, and almost immune to facts. Because as Kellyanne Conway, an advisor of Trump, said, they have alternative facts. And if they stay in their kind of propaganda silos, like of the Fox News propaganda silo, it wouldn't matter what happened because they would say, oh, no, the handling of the pandemic has been great. The handling of the pandemic has been the worst in the industrialized democratic world.
Okay. trust me when I say I'm not getting political on this show. And full disclosure, I am a registered independent. Okay, so I am not trying to get any type of politics going on this show. But he's in my no class, and it's Max Kellerman, because you basically went on national TV and called a large portion of the country dumb and not very intelligent and not able to have their own thoughts. And you grouped a large amount of people into the same stereotype. And I am very prideful from being from where I'm from the state of Louisiana. I have lived a lot of places in this country, and I'm always going to come back here. And Louisiana was included in what Max Kellerman was saying. And so I'm always going to take that like a personal attack. So for me, it is no class to throw a large group of people, because you can't just throw a blanket on everyone and say, well, because you're from there, that's surely how you think, or that's surely how you would handle this situation, or that's surely how you act. To me, that's low class, and
no class.
Yeah, and I thought Max Kellerman should be better than that.
I'm not going to respond to any of that, because I have no desire to get fined this afternoon, and I'm not sure that I could hold my language within FCC guidelines if I did that. So in the interest of not getting us fined today, I'm going to leave it exactly what you. I thought you were very eloquent there, Jacob Hester. Yeah, save us some money today. My no class is. I don't want to. I hate to go back to this again and again, but the story just keeps getting worse, and I didn't know that was possible. Daniel Snyder, who owns the Washington football team, has been accused of any number of things in what is a toxic, from all accounts, a toxic organization. Now, we've seen for years the tangible things, the poor hires, the poor running of the football operation, and the results have been on the field. The things about the toxic environment, we just started to learn the unfortunate details of over the course of the last several months. And while he does get some credit for hiring the first African-American president in NFL history, the story that follows that, unfortunately, is that according to a story in the Washington Post, Daniel Snyder had a photographer, an in-house media member, go along on a photo shoot with the Washington cheerleaders and have them put a video together of them in, say, some compromising poses. And I'll just leave it at that. Just when you thought this guy couldn't be any worse, he just somehow manages to up the ante a little bit. Those people that have listened to me know my feeling on ownership, that if you have bad ownership at in any professional sport, it is almost impossible to run a high-class organization, to run a winning organization. I mostly leave it to football or the sport. You know, you can count the number of really, really bad owners that have won a championship in any sport on one hand. This guy, though, has gone, I mean, he's gone into Donald Sterling category with this.
It's almost like how is he still the owner of the Washington football team?
I think that there's going to be a time very, very soon where you're going to ask that question, and you're not going to have to ask that question because I think that you're going to look at a day, one day very soon, that he will not be an owner in the NFL anymore.
Laura points out in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat, poor Ron Rivera can't catch a break since joining that organization, and you're right. And I've talked long on this show about what I think of Ron Rivera. I spent time with him. My father-in-law played a season with him with the Chicago Bears, and so he has nothing but great things to say about Ron Rivera. And this is a guy that takes over this job after coming from Carolina. Carolina had its own issues, remember that. And then he goes to Washington, and now more issues come up. And obviously he's got an illness as well. And, man.
Ron Rivera's been a good coach. There's only so much a head coach can do. Joe Gibbs was a good coach. Couldn't coach for this guy. Marty Schottenheimer was a good coach. Couldn't coach for this guy. Mike Shanahan was a good coach. Couldn't coach for this guy. I mean, he has chewed up and spit out some.
Spurrier there with him as well.
Spurrier,
no, Spurrier's an experiment.
It was, and Steve will tell you, he's said it publicly many times, the NFL just wasn't for me. But all of those other guys I just named were championship-level coaches somewhere else.
Right.
And he has chewed them up and spit them out because you just can't work for the guy.
Yeah.
This story, though, I mean,
it's disgusting.
just when you didn't think he could get any worse.
You've heard me say this for a very long time. I've got nothing but boys. I've got 4 boys. Rule number 1, we are going to respect women.
And I got girls in my house, okay?
Yeah.
So believe me. Anyway, so Dan Snyder, one more time, no class. We'll take a break. We are brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a new Highlander for $4,000 off MSRP. Yes, $4,000 off MSRP, and we have many in stock. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas. Happy Town, USA.
Coming up on Mondays Off the Bench, we are hurtling towards football season, and we'll bring you the latest from both LSU and Saints camp. Plus, we'll recap the playoffs as the NBA returns to action. And as always, we'll give you our weekend winners. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Of all the Saints offseason acquisitions, I think maybe one of the most intriguing is Emmanuel Sanders. And because of his abilities to adapt to different offenses, we saw him jump ship in the middle of, in a trade in the middle of the season, and it was almost like he was playing for the same team. Like he didn't even miss a beat. Over 100 yards in a game 10 days later. So he was asked about his comfort level with the Saints offense.
Yeah, and I think they're starting to design a couple plays to give me the ball. At first, I was just taking the top off the defense and just allowing the tight end and to actually get open. But now they're moving me inside and moving me outside. Today I played one rep at F in which they put me in position to make a play, and I'm starting to like it a lot more. At first I was like, dang, I'm just running off. But the receivers coach told me just be patient. We was just installing, and now we got an entire install out. So Sean P. and the offensive coordinators and the receivers coaches, they coming together and drawing up plays for me to be able to get the ball and so on.
What's realistic to expect from him?
That's a great question, and that's something I was thinking about while we were listening to that clip. Obviously, he's not going to have the 1,400 or the 1,100 yards that he had in his heyday with the Denver Broncos. But when you look back at his career, even in the years he didn't have those monster years, I mean, you can expect between 600 and 800 yards from him and about 4 or 5 touchdowns. And the Saints will take that right now. The Saints are looking for an option at the receiver position, not named Michael Thomas, that will make you think about him. That's all they're looking for. You don't have to be a game changer. You have to be a guy that when it's your time, when we call your route, when we call your play, that you're ready, and Emmanuel Sanders will be that. And you've got other options as far as Jared Cook at tight end. You've got obviously Alvin Kamara out of the backfield. But still, you needed this position. This was a big need. And I thought last year, he was really good, especially once he went to San Francisco. In 10 games, he had 500 yards receiving, 14 yards a catch, and that's above his normal average. And so he showed you he still got something left in the tank. But just more than anything, just having the threat, Hanny, of him being in the slot, that's going to pay dividends for Saints.
I'm a big fan of athletes that have been in a certain role for a long time, being asked to do less as they get deeper into their careers. Number one pitchers that you pitch in the one hole for 10 years. Well, when you get a little bit older, they ask you to pitch in the two hole. When Greg Maddux is your third best pitcher, or you're hitting in the 3 hole your entire life, and then you hit in the 7 hole. Emmanuel Sanders has been a number one receiver. So now he's not being asked to be a number one receiver anymore. He's a little bit older now. So you're taking some of the pressure off of him. He's used to being the guy. For a good portion of his career, he was the guy. He doesn't have to be the guy. So I'm a big fan of that. My favorite question to ask when we've had our Saints people on is, tell me a receiver that you like that's not named Michael Thomas or Emmanuel Sanders. Sanders himself kind of cast his lot for Traquan Smith.
I mean, Traquan's a player. He's a quiet player, but he's a player. He makes those plays and he just jaws back. He doesn't say too much. He don't talk too much crap. He just goes to work every single day, makes his plays and go home. Wakes up and makes his plays and go home. And the transition from outside to inside in this offense. If you can play outside and you can play inside, you're gonna be able to, stack up the catches and stack up the yards. And I think that, a lot of the guys, the receivers that they have, the majority of these guys can move inside and move outside. And so I'm looking forward to playing with, the entire receiving core. Benny's been balling and Trey's been balling. And I think we had a good day today. So we got to just keep building off that.
We're waiting on Traquan Smith because he looks the part.
He looks the part, but that only gets you in the door. You're 6'2", 210 pounds, great body type. But this was a third-round pick that they had big expectations for. And when you look at it, he had 18 catches last year. Taysom Hill had 19. He had 234 yards. Taysom Hill had 234 yards. Taysom Hill had 6 receiving touchdowns. Traquan Smith had 5. So your third-string quarterback. Now, look, a little tongue-in-cheek. I know what Taysom Hill is, but he had better receiving stats than Traquan Smith. And that's why I forget who it was we even had on or when it was, but I said I think the most pressure on this offense might be Traquan Smith because the other guys, I don't think they have pressure. They know who they are. They know what their roles are. He's trying to find that role in the NFL, and this is the year for him where
put up or shut up.
Yeah, second contract, put up or shut up. We'll see if you're going to be on the team moving forward. You can't. Taysom Hill can't outdo you as far as catching the football this year.
Those numbers are impossible to argue with. There's no other way to put it. Take a break. When we come back, Mike Golic Jr. with us. He is calling Austin Peay and Central Arkansas tomorrow night. The football season is starting. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This is big. Really big. I mean really, really, really big. Because Honda's summer clearance event is going on right now at Richards Honda. With 0 to the 4th power on brand new Honda Civics. That's 0 down, 0 due at signing, 0 security deposit, and 0 first month payment. Plus, summer clearance on every new vehicle in stock. Just another reason why people call Richards Honda the smart choice. I-12 at Millerville Road and richardshonda.com.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Injury lawyers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. 2 days after refusing to take the floor in protest of the police shooting of Jacob Blake, a black man in Wisconsin, which led to the NBA postponing playoff games, one of the Bucks' demands has been met. The Wisconsin Senate will hold a special session Monday to address a package of police reforms. The NBA announced the playoffs will resume tomorrow. The League and Players Association also announced a call to action, which includes promoting greater civic engagement in national and local elections. The NHL, which had postponed games in solidarity with the NBA, resumes its postseason tomorrow. The Hockey Diversity Alliance, though, wants to see more action by the NHL, explains Minnesota Wild defenseman Matthew Dumba.
Teams open up their arenas for voting. We also want transparency through the policy and the targets and commitments related to hiring employees that are visible minorities. We've asked for money from the league over a 10-year span, to go towards social injustice and fighting against racism.
Matthew Dumba with Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mehenti. Baseball, Yankee slugger Aaron Judge on the IL with a calf injury.
DraftKings, the leader in one-day fantasy sports, is giving away up to $100 million in prizes to all of their customers. Just download the DraftKings app and sign up using code MAX. Then enter a free football survivor pool. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hour number 3, Hanging with Hester and Hanny on a Friday afternoon. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 1130 The Tiger in Shreveport. If you're watching along with us on CST, our YouTube channel, 104.5 ESPN, or our Hanging with Hester and Hanny page. Glad that you're with us this afternoon. Mike Golic Jr. Had a production meeting run long, so we're going to push him back one segment. He'll be with us at 2:15, and he is calling the game tomorrow night between Austin Peay and Central Arkansas to kick off the football season. So he does give us a minute. We wanted to get to this story if we had time. The Major League Baseball trade deadline, didn't it just start? but it's just about here.
Yes.
And a former LSU Tiger is one of the guys that could be on the move, Kevin Gausman.
Yeah, he's really the top name when it comes to adding a starter. And this is obviously a different trade deadline than we've ever seen, Hanny. I mean, you're right. It feels like we just started because we did, and now we're talking about trade deadline. And, Gausman's a guy that is tied for 9th in the league as far as strikeouts. He's got a 4.54 ERA, so not great, but very serviceable, right? And he's been a guy that's been traded before in his career. Gets traded from Baltimore to Atlanta. Atlanta releases him. I believe it was Cincinnati last year that picked him up. But I want to have this conversation because you're playing a 60-game season. More teams are making the postseason. But how many GMs do you think are going to be willing to give up top talent for this season? It's a modified season. Obviously, it looks different, but I don't think it's going to take away from the championship. Like, I still think of the San Antonio Spurs as the champion of the year where they only played so many games in that season. I don't think there's going to be an asterisk. Even if there is, we're not going to pay attention to it. Just my opinion. But so do you think you will see GMs give up some of their top talent to try to make a move to not only get into the postseason but make a run?
Very few. and I'll tell you why. All those things you said about the season are true. It's so easy to make the playoffs. I mean, I think more teams will kind of cling to the idea that we can make the playoffs with what we have, and if we can't, then there's if we can't be one of the top half of teams in baseball, then we don't have enough to make a run at a championship anyway. So a lot of times you'll see those teams that are right there on the cusp, and they'll say, we're one player away from making that deep run in the postseason. Well, now you're talking about multiple teams more teams in the playoffs. You're talking about short series where you know that flukish things can happen.
Right.
I just don't know that there are that many teams that think, man, one more pitcher, one more bat in the lineup, one more, left-hander in our bullpen, and we're there. I don't see as many of those situations this year.
Unless it's been an injury situation. And of course, I'm bringing up the Braves here. They've got 7 guys that they were counting on as far as being possible rotation pieces that are either out or have been sent down to the minor league camp. And so they're having an opener for some of these starts. A guy, Josh Tomlin's, going 3 innings, and he's giving his way to the bullpen. And that's a contender. That's a team that's 18-12. They're in first place in their division. And they've really got Max Fried. They've got one bona fide starter. So that's a team, because of their unique situation of Soraka tearing his Achilles and him being injured, you can see them maybe going out and making a move. But I do agree with you. If there's a team, the Cubs. Let's take the Cubs, for instance. They need bullpen help. Kimbrel has not been who they thought he was going to be. With a team like the Cubs, who's probably going to make the postseason anyways, are they going to go out and they're going to give up top talent to get a bullpen piece to try to possibly make a deep run in the postseason?
I want to get back to Gosman. I think there'll be a few trades, but just not a ton, not what you normally see the trade deadline. I want to get back to Gosman for a minute because he's kind of baffling a little bit when you watch him. He's a guy who has always been a high-velocity, big strikeout guy. Okay, the velocity dipped a little bit when he got into the big leagues and got hurt, but it's back. He's not 99 like he was at LSU all the time, but the strikeout numbers have always been good, and the strikeout numbers are tremendous this year. And when you look at a guy that's got that many strikeouts, and he struck out 48 in 35 innings.
Yeah.
When you look at those guys with the high strikeouts numbers, if the ERA is up, you can almost always point to walks. Almost always, because if a guy's striking that many people out, he's missing a lot of bats. You just don't think he's getting hit that hard. So usually if you see high strikeouts and high ERA, you can almost guarantee you're going to see high walks. You don't with him. You did last year, but not that was really the only year where he struggled with his command. And so
he's only got 8 walks on the year.
Right. This year, he's 7-1 strikeout to walk ratio.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 6-1 strikeout to walk ratio. I don't know that you see what you're seeing with Gosman very often, which is a guy that is striking out 1.3 batters per inning and has an ERA and doesn't have very many walks and has an ERA approaching 5. He's getting hit.
Yeah, he's given up 5 home runs in his last 5 starts, and just like this stat line, he goes 5 2/3. He gives up 5 hits against the Oakland A's. He strikes out 11. Now he walks 3. He gives up 2 home runs.
Yeah.
So a lot of these things they don't really add up. I'm right there with you, Hanny. I mean, even in a game against the Angels, he goes 5 1/3, gives up 4 earned runs, and only walks 1, strikes out 8, but he gives up 9 hits.
Yeah. He's getting hit. I actually was intrigued with what Cincinnati did with him last year because they put him in the bullpen.
Yeah.
Which is the first time in his career he's really pitched extensively out of the bullpen. I thought, well, maybe he'll be a guy that can come in and be a setup guy. He can get you a strikeout when you got a runner on third base and less than 2 outs. Maybe that'll be his new role. But the Giants have put him back in the rotation for the most part. There's talent there. I'm just waiting. It seems like all of the pieces are in place there. The stuff, the makeup, everything. It just hasn't happened. And again, the numbers don't do what you would usually see the numbers do, where the strikeouts, walks, and hits are concerned. Wishing the best. I think he still makes an off-season home here, but if he is on the move, I wonder if it might be in a bullpen role.
That's a great point that you make about Cincinnati putting him in the bullpen. And once he got traded from Baltimore to Atlanta, he was one of the best pitchers in the National League after that trade. I mean, he had a 2.87 ERA and 10 starts for the Braves, and then 6.19 ERA. It blew up, and so the Braves released him, and then Cincinnati did pick him up, and he had right at a 4 ERA. And so it's a guy that has had really nice seasons in the past. And in Baltimore, he had a couple seasons where he had a 3 ERA, but at this point, I mean, this looks like probably one of the biggest arms that's going to be moved. And so, kind of to your point, I don't think you're going to see a lot of big-time movement there from stars as far as starting rotation pieces.
Wish him the best. He's, like I said, he's got a lot of talent, and who knows, maybe he'll end up on a team maybe with a chance to win a ring. We'll see if he gets moved. We are brought to you today in part by Supreme Rice, a perfect complement to every meal. Supreme Rice, we had cooked a big chicken stew this week to ride out the hurricane, and also to bring it up here for the guys that were covering it. Thanks to Tracy for cooking. Thanks, honey, for cooking for everybody. The milled, grown, and processed rice right here in South Louisiana. Our hearts go out to those down in South Louisiana that had damage, including the Supreme Rice folks down in Crowley. But they are making it back, and of course, it's terrific rice. Whether it's the long grain or the brown rice or the jasmine, which happens to be my favorite. Whether it's gumbo, etouffee, red beans and rice, white beans and rice, you can be sure that it'll be a better dish when you have Supreme Rice. Easy to get. Your local AG food stores, all of your Walmarts, all of your Costco's, all of your Rouses. So pick up some Supreme Rice today. For more recipes and information, you can go to supremerice.com. Take a break. When we return, I think we got Golic out of his meeting.
I think so.
We'll talk with Mike Golic Jr. when we return. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Tiger Air and the American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning Units. Who doesn't like to save money? Everybody likes to save money. I loved it when they put the American Standard in my home. The installation from Tiger Air was perfect, and I started saving money immediately because it's the most efficient unit on the market, consistently rated among the top units in the market. The programmable thermostat makes it easy for you to save money, even if you forget programming it from your cell phone. And when it comes to service, Tiger Air is second to none.
You're exactly right about that, Hanny, and also assurance, that comfort assurance protection plan we always tell you about. Discounts on parts and labor for repairs, seasonal maintenance spring and fall, increased equipment life, lower utilities. Everybody likes to save money, like Hanny said. Emergency service at a discounted rate. Priority service as well. So during hurricane season, obviously that is something that is crucial. Get a free quote at tiger-air.com. Pick up the phone, give them a call, 225-754-8687.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hi, this is Chance Inman, President and Chief Operating Officer for Janney King Gulf Coast. Here are some ways to protect yourself and those around you from the coronavirus. Wash your hands often and thoroughly. Cover coughs and sneezes with your elbow. Disinfect high-touch surfaces regularly. Use non-contact methods for greeting others. And avoid touching your face. Following these steps, as well as social distancing, should help all of us stay healthy.
Janney King, the king of clean.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Finally, the Riot Radio Hours return. Terry O's in studio. We hope you'll join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. And we remind you that today's show is also brought to you by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. When you are hurting, you want to get that pain dealt with, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers can help you, whether it comes from an old auto accident, a sports injury that's nagging you, or sometimes when you just get a little bit of pain from aging, whether it's a herniated disc, a muscle or ligament strain, a neck or back discomfort, they can ease your suffering. Maybe they'll set up a series of exercises and stretches that'll work for you, but they will tailor-make it to you. They've done it for me. They've done it for members of my family. Maybe you need dry needling or electric nerve stimulation, ultrasound or cryotherapy. 4 locations, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers, 13406 Airline Highway, 2832 Plank Road, 467 Oak Plaza Boulevard in Bruley, and on Jefferson Highway near Drusilla with easy access from both I-10 and I-12, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. Mike Golic Jr. is calling the first football game of the season tomorrow night between Austin Peay and our newly adopted Central Arkansas Bears. Mike, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well. Excited, man. We got football back this weekend. How can you not be?
That's what we've been saying all day about this. And, these two teams were predicted to do pretty well to win their respective conferences. So not only do we have maybe not the biggest names, but we've got a pretty highly competitive, at least on paper, football game here.
Yeah, we do. And I think that's been the cool part in diving into these. It's like you said, these were two teams that both had a share of their respective conference titles last season coming off this. They were both FCS playoff teams last year. And as we're going to see in college football this year, and you guys have talked about this, we all have, the best current continuity. And when you've got it on coaching staffs and you've got it at quarterback, the way that both of these teams do, in addition to both their best receivers on both sides, both of their best defensive players on both sides, you're going to see, despite the limited offseason, I think pretty quality football right off the bat here to start the year.
All right, now, Junior, are you doing this game from home? You're not going to the game, correct?
Yeah, no, we're going to be doing this, calling this off a monitor in Bristol right now, myself and Matt Berry in the booth, and then Lauren Sisler is going to be our sideline reporter, and she is actually going to be on site in Alabama. So she is COVID tested, she is ready to go, and she will be our eyes and ears on the ground in that stadium.
All right, that's a very cool deal that y'all are going to be able to kind of do that, and she's going to be there. Y'all be in Bristol. Something else that we talked about yesterday, we had Brad Teague, the Central Arkansas athletic director, on, was their schedule and how unique it was, the fact that they can't play conference games within the Southland Conference, but they are scheduling not only this game Saturday against Austin Peay, but they're actually turning around, driving from Montgomery, Alabama down to Birmingham and playing UAB on a Thursday. We see these kind of turnarounds in the NFL. We don't see these in college football.
No, and listen, for a lot of people, that is going to be an understandable concern when it comes to already with health and safety being at the forefront of these conversations. Is that kind of turnaround with the limited preseason that we've seen for all of these schools something that's justified at this point? There's no right answers to a lot of these things. And to be clear, you mentioned Dr. Teague. When we talked to Nathan Brown, their head coach, could not have been more complimentary of the job that Dr. Teague and others had done in going out and scheduling and finding them games. You know, when it comes, there are 15 FCS teams that are going to be in play during this fall season, and UCA is going to have the most games on schedule of any of those FCS teams. So the job that they have done in a short amount of time, it cannot be overstated how impressive it is. But even I saw that and went, man, that's a quick turnaround. Like you said, these are younger athletes. These are people not doing it full time the way we see in the NFL. How is this going to go?
Mike Golic Jr. is our guest. He's calling the game between Central Arkansas and Austin Peay. Let's look at the other side from a scheduling standpoint, Mike, because after Central Arkansas, Austin Peay only has 2 other games scheduled, and they're both big games on the road at Pitt and at Cincinnati. Talking to their administration, their coaches, is that it for them? Are they actively looking for more games later in the season?
Yeah, there are more limits in the Ohio Valley Conference, what they can do as far as the amount of non-conference games they can schedule. I believe it's set at 4, so there's a little more of a limit on what they can do at this point in the fall just because of decisions they've made in the conference, I believe. So that being said, I mean, scheduling, like you said, Cincinnati and Pitt on that schedule coming up after this game for them, more quality opponents. There's certainly great opportunities for these athletes to go and compete this fall. And again, for a team that's bringing back a veteran quarterback that's got, preseason, the Ohio Valley Conference Offensive Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year preseason polls on its roster. It's an impressive group, and it's great that they're going to get a chance to show that off.
Mike, I don't know if you had the chance to talk to Central Arkansas about their game with North Dakota State coming up October the 3rd. That's another unique situation where Trey Lance is going to have this showcase game for North Dakota State where they're going to play in the Fargo Dome, and Central Arkansas is going to travel up there, and that's going to be only game for North Dakota State this entire season, at least as of right now. And so that's another situation that Central Arkansas is involved in that is not something we've ever seen before.
No, exactly. And for them, I mean, hell, as we talk about the quality of FCS teams that we're seeing this season, they understand, as everyone does at the FCS level, that North Dakota State has been the standard. And I think they're chomping at the bit from what we've heard of them and their media availability to have the chance to go up to such a unique venue in all of college sports. The Fargo Dome is something that everyone at the Division I level knows, understands, and appreciates as what's become one of the premier venues in addition to one of the premier programs in college sports. I mean, hell, they're beating FBS teams. They've got one of the longest winning streaks at that level against FBS opponents going right now. So I know they're chomping at the bit for that one, and that is quintessentially 2020 and a reminder that scheduling great games like that, games we wouldn't normally see, is a lot easier than everyone's athletic directors would have them believe.
Right. Mike Golic Jr. is our guest covering tomorrow night's game between Austin Peay and Central Arkansas. Mike, let's assume for the moment that everybody that's listening to us not terribly familiar with the personnel groups for either one of these teams, including the 2 guys hosting the show. So I know you've been studying in preparation for this game. What kind of teams are we looking at? What kind of game are we looking at?
I think potentially a very exciting one because both of these teams, and you guys will appreciate this, I mean, watching LSU last year, we talked to Jeremiah Oatsball, the quarterback for Austin Peay, who spent a lot of his offseason, he was recovering from an injury during this game last year, spent a lot of his offseason watching Joe Burrow, watching the LSU offense, trying to emulate some things that they saw from those groups because both of these teams want to push it down the field. Austin Peay is primarily a spread team. Central Arkansas has got a little mix of both. It's got some pro-style looks in its sets, but both sides have really high-quality receivers, guys that can go up and get it on the outside. And I think you're going to see them push it early on that one. Again, with the offseason that we've had, people are worried about timing and things like that. But for Central Arkansas and Braylon Smith, who set records last year, their single-season record holder at quarterback for yards and touchdowns in a season, he got that done by going bombs away to big guys on the outside that turned 50-50 balls into more like 60-40 or 70-30 in their favor. And so I think those things are a little less timing-based and require a little less time under task together with each other during the offseason. So when you come into it with those signal callers at that position being as competent and experienced as they are as leaders of these groups, I think you have a chance to see us light up the scoreboard a little bit in what will be college football's overall kickoff.
Mike, since we have you here, I do also want to ask you about the situation in the Big Ten. It came out today, possibility, a chance that they could actually start back up after Thanksgiving this year. Initial thoughts when you heard that?
Nothing's changed. Like when I heard ADs and coaches, I said all the same people that wanted to play before. This isn't taking place at the doctor level. This isn't taking place at the president level. And those are the people that ultimately made this decision, in addition to Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren. So until it rises above that level that we've seen in the past and we're seeing right now, not much has changed in my mind. We've known that there's been a wailing of gnashing of teeth from players, coaches, and parents involved in this. But ultimately now, with some schools having sent athletes home and some still having them in a holding pattern maybe, but not practicing the way they were, it doesn't seem practical unless they've got new medical information that the Big Ten would then again not feel like sharing with us for some reason. I struggle to see this changing anytime in the immediate future.
I actually should have started this interview, by the way, and saying, congrats on the new show, the new time slot. I know we caught you right when that was announced, but I've got to ask you this. How's the sleep been, my man?
Man, it is a whole new world. I never thought in my life, if you would have told like 16-year-old me that waking up at 7 o'clock, 7:30 was going to feel like sleeping until noon at some point in your life, I'd have never believed you. But I spring out of bed every day like I am a new man. And while I certainly loved and appreciated everything about getting to do a national morning show, getting to do it with my dad, I tell you what, at this point in life, while I still got some years I consider young in me, it is nice to kind of have a schedule like everybody else for a little bit.
Mike, we appreciate it. Have a good call. We're looking forward to the start of the season. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate it, Mike.
I had a friend, one of my very first colleagues in radio. She later went on to be a television anchor on a morning show, and the morning show started at 5 a.m. And so in order to do all of the prep that she had to do for the morning show and get all the stories ready to go into makeup and get a thing, she had to get up at 1 a.m. Okay, to get everything prepped and everything ready to be on air at 5. She had to get up at her home at 1, which meant she had to go to sleep somewhere around 6 or 7, most nights. And she did this for like 5 years, and then finally she's like, I can't do this anymore. I thought to myself, what kind of schedule do you have?
What you become accustomed to. Yeah.
No, you don't. I disagree with that because
you do.
Here's what I did. I did mornings for 6 months in my life, and you don't get used. In my opinion, you don't get used to it. I didn't get used to it because you run into a weekend, and you don't want to go to bed at 6 o'clock at night on a weekend, and you don't want to wake up at 1 a.m. on Saturday morning. So, if you did 50 consecutive days or 20 consecutive days, you might get used to it. But you do 5, and then you don't want to go to sleep. It's a bear. And some people love it. Okay, the people that love it, it. But it's tough.
Yeah, my parents both worked graveyard shift all growing up, so 11 to 7. So their schedule obviously was a little bit different, and they would obviously lose some sleep to go watch us play ball and all those different type of things. But I do a morning show a lot of days on Sirius XM. When that red light comes on at 6 a.m. and you got to get up and be here at 5:15, it's a little different than when I got to be here at 11:15. Those days that I don't have that show and I get to sleep till 7:30, just like you said, it feels like noon.
I'm going to let you have that morning show. I'm sticking my time slot. I like it. We'll take a break. When we come back, former LSU coach John Brady will be with us. He will share his thoughts on the passing of Hall of Fame coach Lute Olson and the games that LSU and Arizona had. It'll be fun to look back. Those were some classics. We'll do that when we return. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Gotros Outdoor Power, helping you with all of your property maintenance needs, and our friends over at Skag. There's zero-turn mowers, whether it's commercial or residential, the best units on the market. They're going to give you a few things as a little bit of incentive. In addition to getting the best unit on the market, 60 months interest-free financing available right now. Free delivery available on all of their units. Their Simply the Brave program is a 15% discount off of MSRP on all units for our medical, our fire, our police, whether you are active or retired, and our military as well. And in addition to that, right now, Skag's giving you a little bit something extra.
There's all kind of things going on. Free echo blower or trimmer when you buy a new Skaggs ETR. Also, don't forget about the 15% off select Echo Power equipment as well as pole saws, chainsaws, brush cutters, generators. I almost don't have time to tell you everything that's going to be 15% off. That sale started yesterday, runs through Saturday. That's at Gotro's Outdoor Power.
Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping your family comfortable for over 25 years.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Hi, this is Chance Inman, President and Chief Operating Officer for Janney King Gulf Coast. Here are some ways to protect yourself and those around you from the coronavirus. Wash your hands often and thoroughly. Cover coughs and sneezes with your elbow. Disinfect high-touch surfaces regularly. Use non-contact methods for greeting others. And avoid touching your face. Following these steps, as well as social distancing, should help all of us stay healthy.
Janney King, the king of clean.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
$10,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Coming up on a Friday edition of Game Time, Jimmy Ott gets you ready for all the action in sports over the weekend. We're live from Mike Anderson's Seafood off of West Lee Drive. Tune in from 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Joining us now is former LSU head basketball coach John Brady, now with the LSU Sports Radio Network. Coach, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing good, Charlie. How are you?
How'd you shoot?
Well, you know, we only played 9 because it was hot and it was backed up a bunch. But I fired a little 43 on the front, which isn't bad for me.
No, that's real good. We wanted to talk with you today because Lute Olson, the Hall of Famer, passed away last night at the age of 85. you had a relationship with him not only for the games that you played against his teams, which we're going to talk about in a minute, but also because your daughter was in school at the University of Arizona. So you knew Lil Olson very well.
Yeah, I knew him pretty good, and we had some really good games. And those two games that we're going to talk about in Baton Rouge were probably two of the better games that my team played in my time at LSU. And he's one of those guys who has respect by everybody. Everybody likes him. Not only does he win games, he also retains respect from everybody that he came in contact with. And there's not many guys who can do that, and he's certainly one of those. And and when you coach against a guy like that, I was a young guy coaching at that particular time. I saw Lute Olson and the job he'd done in Arizona, and for me to be able to coach against a guy like that, as well respected as he was, and to be able to beat them, particularly when they were number one in the country at that particular time, was really special for LSU to be able to do. And I feel fortunate to be able to coach against a guy of that stature.
Let's talk about that game first. It was the last game that you coached against him, but it was the first time in 24 years that LSU had beaten a number one team in the country, and it was a 1-point game. You had a lead in the second half. They made a run at you. That was an extremely talented Arizona team, and the last play of the game tried to run an alley-oop to Andre Iguodala that I believe it was Taurus Bright knocked away, and that ended the game. But tell me what you remember about preparing for that game and able to pull that upset.
Well, I remember telling our team we really had nothing to lose. I mean, they were number one in the country, and you throw some of those names. Fry was a 7-footer who played in the league. Gardner played in the league. Stoudemire played in the league. Iguodala, he still has played in the league. So that was a super talented team that Arizona had, and I think Daryl Mitchell was a freshman then, and certainly Antonio Hudson, one of the most underrated players I think in my career there, and Hanny and Taurus Bright and Dupree. We had Collins coming off the bench, so we had a good team. We had some experience, but certainly we didn't have first-round draft picks, 3 of them like they did on that particular team. But we had a 15-point lead, and I knew that Arizona was going to make a run at us, and they did. And we even survived with Ronald Dupree calling a timeout when we didn't have any timeouts with 2.5 minutes to go in the game. So we were able to overcome a lot of things. And the thing I remember about that particular night was how great the crowd was. I mean, it was unbelievable what I experienced feeling that crowd. And I remember I should have changed shirts at halftime because I sweated through a whole shirt like that. It was really incredible night, and our team found a way to win. Jaime Laredo was really good. Ronald Dupree made big plays. Antonio Hudson made big plays. Taurus Bright. And we knew we were up 1. They just had to lob it because it was 0.5 seconds to go. So we put Taurus on the ball, and we wanted to crowd everybody and really get skin to skin on the inbounds play so it would make them harder to jump because they didn't really have time to set a lot of screens. So we were fortunate that Taurus Bright timed his jump when they tried to lob the ball to Iguodala for a tip-in to try to win the game. We tipped it, and the horn went off, and it was a great experience. And as you said, the first time in 24 years LSU had beaten a sitting number one team.
You know what I remember about the crowd that night? I was sitting right next to Jim Hawthorne and Kevin Ford at the scores table because they were calling the game, and the crowd they rushed to court after it. We were right in front of the students, and they came over the top of us, and Hawthorne says, "Guard the equipment," and we did a barrel jump onto the equipment so it wouldn't get trampled. That's what I remember about that game.
Well, it was a special night, and our team found a way to win, and then the next number one team we beat obviously was Duke on the way to the Final Four. So in my tenure there, we were able to beat 2 sitting number one teams, which I don't think anybody else. That's the only thing I've done that no other coach has done at LSU to this point. So those were 2 good accomplishments for our team to be able to do.
Coach, I also remember that 2000 victory, 86-60 over Arizona. And, of course, Strohmile did Stro things, right? He had 21 points. But Jabari Smith had 15, 6, and 4 assists in that game. And that was a game that I kind of found out who Jabari Smith was. He was a smooth player, probably a lot smoother than people give him credit for. But it was nice to have 2 bigs like that be that dominant against Arizona.
And, the special thing about those 2 guys is how well they got along. There was no selfishness or who did what, or I got to get mine. Never in coaching those two guys that I ever felt that at all. They always pulled for each other. They supported one another. And I think that spread to the rest of the team. And, that was a talented team. That 2000 team probably rivals any team I had there, even the Final Four team in terms of talent and how good they were. And if you look back at that victory against Lute Olson's team at Arizona, they were 3 or 4 in the country at the time. But that may be the worst defeat in Lute Olson's career at the University of Arizona when we just pounded them that day in Baton Rouge. And Jabari Smith made one of the most memorable plays in the history of LSU basketball right before the first half when he had a breakaway layup and he took the ball behind his back and faked a behind-the-back pass, and the defender went for it, and then he cocked it back over his head and dunked the ball right when the buzzer went off. So that was a memorable play that I'll never forget, and it happened at a great time. And that team in 2000 turned out to be really, really good and really, really talented.
Not only did he dunk the ball right at the horn, he didn't even break stride. He just went straight. It was on the side going toward the LSU locker room. He dunked the ball like he had planned the whole thing and just kept on running right to the locker room for halftime. Coach, was that when you realized how good that team could be? Because Arizona was a top 5 team at the time, and that team ended up going to the Sweet 16. Was that the moment where you said, hey, man, we got the goods here?
Well, we'd gone to Hawaii and won a tournament in the Hilo, and we beaten a couple of good teams, Wyoming and some teams out there that people weren't as familiar with. But we'd won a tournament out there, and we came and doing the SEC play. That particular game, I think that the other game was in December the 10th or something like that when we beat them when they were number 1. But I think in 2000 it was during league play, and we were really in the middle of it, leading the league and playing well at the same time. So I knew that team was good. That team was talented, and defensively, with Jabbar and Strohmeyer around the basket, there weren't a lot of people, regardless of the talent of the other team, that could really score consistently around the goal. And anytime you can protect a basket like that, at any level, you got a chance to have a good team.
I want to ask you some more about Lute Olson, who passed away last night. There is an accomplishment that he did that boggles my mind, and I know that you can appreciate how difficult this is to do, is the number of consecutive 20-win seasons. He did it 20 times in a row. Here's the list of coaches that have done that. Dean Smith, Mike Krzyzewski, Bill Self, Mark Few. That's the whole list of people that did it 20 times or more. I know you can appreciate how difficult accomplishing something like that is.
Well, here's what you do. When he went to Arizona, it wasn't like they had won a lot. And he took that program and made it one of the most successful programs in the history of college basketball. And anytime you can be consistent like that, win 20 games, that means you've done two things. You've recruited extremely well, but the second thing is you've also coached extremely well and developed players and made outstanding, talented players play well and unselfish together. And that in itself is a talent. A lot of coaches can accumulate talent, but they can't get them to play within a system and play with one another. Lute Olson, he recruited it, he coached it well, and that's why 20 straight years he was able to recruit. And my daughter went to the University of Arizona, as you alluded to earlier. And I would go out there when I was still coaching and watch Arizona practice. And Lute Olson, I sat with him one time at an Arizona practice, and he is just as humble and as kind and as nice a man as I'd ever been around to have the type of success that he experienced.
The Arizona stuff is obviously the bulk of his career, but he was an extremely successful coach before that. He took Iowa to 5 NCAA tournaments, and when he took over at Long Beach State, which is hardly a basketball powerhouse, he had a team there in the 1970s and went 24-2. So you could make a Hall of Fame resume just on what he did at Arizona. He had a massive amount of success even before that.
Well, what it speaks to is how talented he was as a basketball coach. There's not many guys down the pike who's had that kind of success at 3 or 4 different type of schools. I mean, none of them at the time, Iowa probably, but none of the others at the time were really basketball powerhouses. And he developed winners at every spot, consistent winners at every spot that he coached. So he's probably one of the top 5 coaches to ever have coached college basketball based on those numbers that you just put out there.
I want to ask you about one more thing when the LSU-Arizona rivalry before we let you go. I know you didn't coach in this game, but I know you're familiar with it. And this was back in 1991, the Arizona-LSU game that saw Shaquille O'Neal have his basically, I would say, his coming out party. It was actually in 1990 because it was a December game. I'll correct that. And that was the day everybody that didn't know already discovered Shaquille O'Neal, and that's when he was doing the dance, and he got a number of putback dunks, and the place was just going crazy. You told me earlier this morning we were talking that you had actually seen that game. You remembered that game, even though that was before you were the coach here.
Right. Well, it's kind of like Tyrus Thomas's coming out party when we played Connecticut in the Meadowlands back on the run to the Final Four. Sometimes those games crystallize at the right time for that particular player, and it certainly did for Shaquille. And Coach Brown started that series with the University of Arizona. And when I came to LSU, we pushed one of those games back because we were so bad the first year. We weren't going to be able to really compete, and we kind of rearranged the schedule with those type of games. That's why they showed up later on when they were supposed to be played a little bit earlier. And Arizona worked with us on that, and Joe Dean helped us do that. But Dale started that thing with Arizona, and then for Shaquille to come out and play as well as he did, that's one of those games where everybody knew how good Shaquille was and what he was going to bring to the LSU basketball program for another year or two.
Coach, we appreciate you taking some time to remember Lute Olson in the LSU-Arizona games. Have a good weekend. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, guys. Appreciate the call. Thanks.
We'll take a break. When we come back, ask us in the Bayou Ford chat on YouTube. That's next. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com, helping you achieve all of your financial goals. When you start with them, they talk about changing lives. They're going to change your budget every month for the better. You'll sit down with a qualified counselor locally. They'll answer a few questions, and then you'll lay out all of the goals that you want to accomplish. Maybe you're looking for a new home. Right now with interest rates, you're going to have more purchasing power than ever. Maybe a refi will help you in the long term. With a lower rate, obviously, you'll be paying less money over the long term, but the short-term goals as well. You'll be able to skip a mortgage payment or two, free up a little bit of cash as we are here in phase 2. Maybe it's a construction loan that you need. You like your home, but you need a little bit more space. You're adding to your family. They can help you with that as well. GMFSmortgage.com is where you start your journey. Do what I did. Do what thousands of other people have done. Improve your financial status today with a qualified counselor from GMFSmortgage.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
This is big. Really big. I mean really, really, really big. Because Honda's summer clearance event is going on right now at Richards Honda. With 0 to the 4th power on brand new Honda Civics. That's 0 down, 0 due at signing, 0 security deposit, and 0 first month payment. Plus, summer clearance on every new vehicle in stock. Just another reason why people call Richards Honda the smart choice. I-12 at Millerville Road and richardshonda.com.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anderson Bitter. Anderson Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping...
Coming up on Mondays Off the Bench, we are hurtling towards football season, and we'll bring you the latest from both LSU and Saints camp. Plus, we'll recap the playoffs as the NBA returns to action. And as always, we'll give you our weekend winners. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, ask us. We'll get to that here in just a second. But Cade's got an announcement he wants to make. This will excite the Chief fans around here.
Hudson Hester, looking at you.
What you got, Cade?
Are you ready for some football?
Yes. Yes.
So behind the scenes, we've been working, excuse me, to try to fill the void that we may have or have been kind of anticipating what can be the sports programming on our weekends. And we've had a good relationship with the team at Westwood One, and maybe that's more behind the scenes. But either way, they have been the network that has provided the primetime NFL games we've been carrying on our sister station, Talk 107.3. So that's Monday night, Thursday night, Sunday night. We are moving those to ESPN. So ESPN Baton Rouge will have Monday, Thursday, Sunday night games. There is a slew of games that ESPN Radio will provide. But in addition to that, we're now a member of the Kansas City Chiefs radio network. So we will have a select amount of games. If they play on a noon or a 3 kick, you're going to hear that here. And even if they play in a primetime game, which they do have a couple of those this season, we'll still have that. In addition, we have a couple of kind of a mixed bag of a couple of Cowboys, a couple of Raiders.
Cowboys
for the season. And I will say,
they didn't clear that with you.
Week one, tentatively, we have Houston and Kansas City on that Thursday.
Yeah.
The noon slot could change, but as of right now, we've got Joe Brady and the crew over at Carolina taking on Las Vegas Raiders in that noon spot. And I'm looking at Arizona and San Francisco in the afternoon spot. Of course, the Saints play there, so those games will always live on Eagle 98.1. And then the evening spot for Sunday is Dallas, Los Angeles Rams, I believe. And then Monday night, there's a pair of games. We're only taking the second, which is Tennessee and Denver.
I love it. I think that is really cool. The Chiefs, obviously, with the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, local product, being on the Chiefs roster, going to play a big part on the Chiefs roster. Super Bowl champions. So, yeah, they were a rival for a couple of my teams, but full blessings. I'll be listening. I'll be tuned in.
Good work, Kate.
And I think we're in a good spot when Kansas City is also paired with the NFC South, so you're going to get a lot of mix of the other opponents amongst the NFC South.
And I get to hear the Chargers twice.
There you go.
All right, ask us. Did you hear about Bullet Bob Armstrong passing away? I hadn't, but since you brought it up, I looked and saw that he had passed away today. Bob Armstrong might have been the most successful wrestler that wasn't 6 foot tall. He was next to the giants, because professional wrestlers, they all, they look like dinosaurs, kid. You ever fight a dinosaur? But he wasn't, and he was a very good wrestler. He passed away today. He was 80.
Who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
My favorite wrestler of all time was the Junkyard Dog.
Dog?
I'm sorry, he just was, because he was the hero when I was a kid.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Anybody else wrestling fans in the room? Or wrestling fans?
You got to go back a ways on Mid-South wrestling for me.
Yeah,
mine was Sting.
Okay, like Venice Beach Sting with the blonde hair, or
no, I like
the Crow Sting?
I like the Scorpion.
Okay, all right.
Black,
Cade, you
black
got
and white.
Okay, you got a favorite?
I don't know, it's tough to go back. Some of the Mid-South was in and around the Homa area when I grew up.
Shreveport big,
and so that was like that was such a huge
Club.
thing. But late '80s, early '90s, like the Jake the Snake stuff. Oh heck,
Jake the Snake.
That's Jake Snake right here. You stole my answer, Cade. Not Jake the Snake right here.
Yeah.
I got the figurine to
Playing
prove
favorites.
it. I know it. Playboy?
I was not allowed to watch as a child, so I
What?
didn't really. Yeah, and it sucks. It's like a whole
Not
subsection
allowed
of
to watch fake wrestling?
whole subsection of pop culture I just know very little about, but I did play the video games, and I always used Stone Cold. So
Oh my gosh, that's a great answer, but my goodness gracious, get Mr. Playboy on the phone. Let me chat with him. Yeah, I'm going Jake Snake Roberts. As you can see, I got the bobblehead right here.
Oh.
The name. I mean, it was Stone Cold's a good answer though.
Ask us what percentage of games in the SEC do you think will get canceled? I hope none, but I would say under 10%.
Yeah, I still look. I've got faith until something else happens. I am confident that the SEC, maybe not the days they're supposed to be played, but I still think they'll get a full schedule in.
Thanks everybody for participating. For Cade, for Marty, for Paul, for Jacob, I'm Charles. Thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for AFR 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to